I saw some of the discourse in chat, and yes, it's true. Being a live streamer is the hardest job ever. But I try my best. What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? Howdy, howdy. Hey, hey. That's true. Nobody has a harder job than me. Nobody ever has. Truly, am I braver than the troops. New YouTube rule just dropped to fuck you more. What YouTube rule? Did they change something about the TOS? I'm seeing stuff from back in November, but I'm already aware of all that. Something from the past couple of days? YouTube monetization policy 2023 update. What do we got? If you want to monetize a new YouTube channel, you need to meet the YouTube monetization requirement of 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I think we got that. You must also meet this requirement within 12 months of your YouTube channel? Really? You have to get 1,000 subs within 12 months? No love for people who start out their channel really small, but then like have an explosion in growth later on? That's incredibly fucked. Why would they do that? And you have to upload unique content on YouTube. No copy-paste videos can be uploaded. Does that mean I can't like post live stream segments? Like, would my original VOD count as copy-paste if I pulled a video from it? That's such a weird rule. Like, it's so dumb. It doesn't even... How does that even benefit from... Like how does that even... Will you stream on YouTube? Yeah, so it would be like my stuff gets uploaded twice. No clip channels? Yeah. No compilations? What? Yeah, I have no idea. That's really dumb. I'll need to look over this. How to apply for monetization. That's so dumb. That's so shitty to like smaller channels. There are so many channels that have been around for like 10 years and then like randomly they get a huge boost in growth after a while because they just slowly like this like destroys the narrative of just like keep trying and eventually it'll hit, you know? Like keep posting and maybe one day you'll get a viral breakthrough video. That's so fucked, dude. Ugh. Gets worse. Watch this.
Said shit pretty
Huge
early.
YouTube change just ruined many channels. Oh, this is from... Oh, this is critical? Okay, let's watch the critical video. Hopefully me watching the critical video doesn't count as me, like, copy-pasting videos or whatever. Yeah, it's super fuck, Bolshevik.
Stop everything you're doing right now. I don't care how important it is. I have news that'll blow it out of the water. And trust me, you're gonna want to get this sitting down. So if you're in the operating room watching this, it's time to put down the scalpel and pay attention. YouTube has just made a massive change to the platform, and in standard YouTube fashion has done a horrible job at communicating it to the community. So it's up to me, Ace Reporter Charles here, to tackle this topic from the front lines, just riding through like Paul Revere lighting the lanterns, letting you all know that another awful set of changes are coming to YouTube that have already overnight tanked some creators' sources
I saw these from RT Game Daniel. I saw these.
of income from their channels, demonetized like half of their videos with no explanation, and more channels are soon to follow as this continues to roll out. And I'll let it be known right away here that yes, my channel has been hit extremely hard by this new shadow policy that they've slid into the equation here. The policy is, if you say any swear word or anything less than proper in the first 8 seconds of a video, you instantly get demonetized for it no matter what. There is no wiggle room. If you say
Okay.
anything that's not squeaky clean Weenie Hut Jr. and you let that rip in the first 8 to 15 seconds of that video, well, you're just getting blasted, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, to a lot of you, hearing that's probably not surprising because the previous policy that all YouTubers were playing ball with was the first 30 seconds you couldn't say fuck. You couldn't say anything super hard like fuck. Because if you did, you'd likely get demonetized. But now, it applies to the first 8 seconds, and all profanity is being treated equally, except for a couple of exceptions like hell and damn, I guess. Maybe even ass. You might be able to squeeze a little ass in there in the beginning, I suppose, if the YouTube Illuminati is...
Yeah, guys, the problem with this rule isn't that it's difficult to follow. The problem is that it's retroactive, which means that if there's a channel where somebody has been posting high-quality videos and his opening is like, damn, guys, what a great day to be alive. Let's get into it. And, like, that's been fine for all of YouTube. But now, that would be counted towards the profanity, and all of those videos would get automatically demonetized. That's the issue. It's all automated systems. It's retroactive. It goes back as well.
Is feeling generous with their policy enforcement that day. Now, while that's all pretty clear about just not using any profanity whatsoever in the first 8 seconds, it gets a little muddy when it starts talking about a focal usage of profanity throughout the video. It says, such as a mention in every sentence, but that's not exactly how they enforce it. For a lot of the videos that have been demonetized, at least on my side, it's not like I'm going around hitting them with like Saints Row dialogue. It's just very confusing what's actually triggering this new demonetization wave that's...
Yeah, I guess Tempest and Ryan are just gonna have to keep... I mean, they already try to, like, edit out most of the swears or whatever. Yeah. Jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I was about to say the F word, guys. Love the new internet. Makes sense that they would eventually sanitize everything, like we have the FCC breathing down our necks anyway. Wait, I'm just gonna check to see if the hammer has hit me. No, okay, all my vids are monetized. Because, like, Tempest and Ryan will cut out, like, all of the swears that I use. Which apparently was a good idea, since they're going monkey mode with this.
Sweeping through like a plague. For example, RT Game, again, isn't exactly a creator known for, like, intense swearing and getting out of control and unhinged and saying profanity in every sentence like this policy here. And yet,
yeah, there you go, kind of. Yeah, making it retroactive is so screwy.
Many of his videos just got demonetized. And he's also not someone that does a whole lot of cursing and swearing like a sailor in the first, like, minute of his videos either. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's not as clear as these rules seem to think that it is. Also, this rule applies retroactively to every piece of content ever made, even as far back as like 2007.
Cool.
So like half of my catalog of videos is now demonetized. This happened to a ton of creators, and because it's a new policy, yet every old video ever made now has to play by those rules. So it ended up with so much being demonetized. But it's very vague when it comes to the enforcement here. Let me give you just 2 quick examples from 2 new videos I made. Both of these were monetized as of 12 hours ago. So this first one is just called Good News. It is legitimately just going over very wholesome topics. The focal point is not on swearing, you know, it's not a potty mouth kind of video. It's just going over wholesome topics. But in the intro, I said shit pretty early. This week's been pretty doom and gloom with a lot of awful shit coming to light all across the internet. So me saying shit here is clearly what triggered the demonetization flag. Okay, a little upsetting, but they've now made these rules clear and they're retroactive, so I get it. But here's an example of one that makes no sense at all.
Okay, here's the thing that I don't understand. Where is the advertiser pressure to not appear alongside videos that have this language anyway? That's the thing that I don't understand, man. Like, I can understand there being a pressure to not have videos put on, like, super racy content or whatever, but videos that just have any swears at all, like, it's the internet. You know? I feel like, yeah, the past YouTube era is over. I feel like what YouTube wants to be is just another streaming service. YouTube just wants to be another streaming service that that floats ad revenue rather than subscription payments for its revenue. They only channels they want on YouTube are like mega multi-million subscriber corporate channels and a couple of approved Let's Players and like drama channels and makeup or whatever. Like that's what they want. They want a YouTube composed of maybe like a couple thousand extremely high quality, kid friendly channels, and that's it. You know? Meanwhile, like the Epoch Times and PragerU and Matt Walsh can run ads on YouTube. So like they're demonetizing these videos for the poor sensibilities of these kids or whatever, but like the ads that are getting run on the service are for like hate movements.
By their new rules. This is me talking about Godslap Issue 2 being out. Don't worry, I'm here now. I know for the last few months you've been cold and afraid, the uncertainty eating away at you, wondering what comes next. Well, I'm here to show you what comes next. It's issue 2 of Godslap, baby. I probably don't need to explain what Godslap is, you already know. It's our comic book series that's become more popular than the Bible. There's no profanity at all, not even low-level profanity. I don't mention ass or butt or anything like that at all. I'm just talking about Godslap and getting excited. It's a comic book series we've worked on for a long time, and I made this video just going over everything and letting you all know that it's available at godslapbook.com. This wasn't supposed to be an ad for it, but it's a great example here because there is no profanity used throughout this video until 5 minutes and 37 seconds into it after giving a plot summary for issue 1.
Some systems, or some, like, sometimes God will be considered profanity. Not because it's a swear, but because it's like a heavy word, if that makes sense.
Surrounding Sal, finishing them off with more finger flicks which blow their fucking head off. They share a brief conversation. So then what could have possibly triggered this demonetization? Is it using profanity at all that's going to result in demonetization? Because that'd be very concerning if so. The best guess I can muster is they must have been really upset about the animation because we had an animation made for issue 2 and it's a pretty gory animation. So it comes in at around a minute into the video and there is some animated gore and violence. But that's a minute into it, and again, that's not the focus of it, and I wouldn't think anyone would be like disturbed or shocked by the content. It's not anything that's, you know, egregious or over the top. It's just violence in a comic book and animated format. So would that really now result in demonetization for any channel that has anything that's even close to this level of violence? Because that's really strict. Like, what you see there is something you'd find in like any M-rated or even T-rated game sometimes. Like, it's not that extreme. Like, I don't see why that would warrant being demonetized, but it is a bit scary because this has all happened.
I feel like we're reaching kind of like the apotheosis of inconsistent censorship rules, you know? Like, now I guess on YouTube you can't say damn at the beginning or whatever. You can play like some Mad World tier ultra violent gory video game and get that monetized. You know, you can play like Mortuary Sim, or like you know, Simulator or whatever the fuck, and that's fine. You can't say shit. That's not fine. You can literally, any kind of violence is okay, but not nudity. YouTube actually does have a lot of nudity, but it just doesn't enforce it for some reason. Like there are like channels dedicated to naked yoga, which will show you just about anything you can find in a porn video. But that stays, even though it technically violates the rules. But you can't. I don't know, man. Why? Where's the cultural pressure for no cuss words, dude? I don't know. I guess we don't really know where things are coming from the advertiser's perspective, but we have for a while now been re-entering an era of like censorship and prudishness. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but since the 1980s, basically all mainstream culture is much more sexless and less violent. Like if you go back to the 80s or 90s, the like fairly mainstream action or adventure movies will have what would today be considered like incredibly racy stuff. There were like movies that like I think were like teen movies, like PG-13 or whatever the movie equivalent is, where like chicks would get their tits out, there'd be fucking. There's like no sex in modern movies, like at all. Have you ever noticed that? It's really weird. Like you'll have movies that are violent but will be totally sexless. And even then, like, I don't want to sound like a hippie here or whatever, but sex is like a pretty, no, there is a lot in TV shows, but not in movies. And the TV shows are usually like specific to online streaming and not like the television itself, right? Like, it's weird. And the strange thing is like, yeah, I don't want to sound like a hippie or whatever, but like, you know, sex is a pretty normal part of what humans do. It's been known to happen sometimes. Star Wars had burning corpses. Yeah, in Star Wars, you can show burning corpses. You can have like Chewbacca's like catapult blaster knock a hole through Kylo Ren or whatever in the seventh movie. But like, not only could you not show tits in Star Wars, you can't even like show cleavage. Like Star Wars is a sexless universe. In a lot of ways, more so than it used to be. I feel like Padme in Revenge of the Sith in episode 3 was more sexualized. Slave Leia was more sexualized in the original trilogy. They could never do that now. But now they can't. Like, now, yeah. No, I mean, like, it's gotten more so. Like, it's gotten more sexless with time. Like, people are getting more prudish. You see a lot of this, too, on, like, with the Zoomers. I don't follow the TikTok discourse that much, but I feel like I've seen a lot of young people or, like, young circles or spaces demonstrating a kind of, like, aversion to the idea of sensuality in media, oftentimes under the guise of it being reactionary or, like, weird. Like, that there's something weird about, like, lewdness in media. I don't know. Has anyone else noticed that? I feel like I just see a lot of prudishness these days. I don't think that's the case. Well, here's something that is an actual fact, like a confirmed fact. Right now, people, young, old, whatever, are having less sex than ever. If you go back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, people back then were having way more sex. Like, they talk about today's kids being crazy. That's not true. Back in the 1950s, these people were insane. You can go by testimonial data or like child pregnancy rates, but back in the 50s, these like kids would go to prom and then go and get fucking blasted and just impregnate people. Like, that was common. That was not uncommon. At all. Back then. STDs were in everything. No, it's not an STD thing. Is that actually true? Yeah, no, there's literally data on this. It's dropped, like, massively in terms of, like, the average first stage of having sex, the average rate with which people have sex, all of that. Like, that's data that's been collected, and it's, like, an incredibly strong trend towards, like, everyone being sexless. Don't get me wrong, everyone's looking at porn earlier, everyone's jerking off a bunch, everyone's got their fucking furry online kinks or whatever, but in terms of actual interpersonal human boning, that's only going down. Do you think our sexlessness is causing prudishness in the media or other way around? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's really complicated. I don't really know. There's got to be like a lot of stuff going on that all kind of plays into there's a lot going on. I don't know.
overnight with no explanation. And it's not just, bad words and things like that. This applies to so much other shit that they're now enforcing heavily. But it's not just for getting a little wacky with your language in videos that'll result into monetization now. If you're getting a little wacky with your game choice, if you're a gaming YouTuber, you can get demonetized for it, even age restricted in some cases. If you're playing a game that's kind of violent, you're very likely to get demonetized for it. And if there's bad language in that game, especially early on in the video you make covering that game, you're likely to be demonetized for it. And in fact,
dude, this is going to fuck over indie creators so much. Indie game developers rely so much on free exposure from Let's Players playing their games. And if the Let's Players are going to avoid playing games that'll get them demonetized, that means that indie developers are going to have to avoid making games that have that.
Callisto Protocol is the most recent example. You can get age restricted for it too. Callisto Protocol was deemed too gory. It's too much. This is very unholy stuff we're seeing here. So anyone that made videos on Callisto Protocol got age restricted for it, including me.
That's why I didn't play it, because it looked like a piece of shit from the beginning. Hey.
A couple of them I know slid under the radar, but for the most part, anything that had Callisto Protocol did get age restricted, which is almost poetic because you might remember that Callisto Protocol is inspired by Dead Space, and Dead Space 2 had the worst marketing campaign of all time called Your Mom Hates Dead Space, and it was all about how offended mothers were getting at Dead Space. It was very silly, but now it's like become reality for YouTube. YouTube is now that Dead Space mom when it comes to violent video games. It's pretty pathetic, but what's the saddest part about this whole situation is YouTube's refusal to be transparent with this and make it clear that these policy changes are coming. I had to find out, as did everyone else, after being hit by it and then doing digging, because anytime there's a policy...
Yeah, this was great. I'm a large YouTuber. I make my living off of this. Why didn't I get a fucking email? Could I have gotten an email, maybe? That would have been nice. Like, to the account linked to my AdSense. Like, that would have been pretty easy.
Policy change, YouTube treats it like a government secret, like the Krabby Patty secret formula. They just refuse to share it. So I had to learn by searching around online, talking to other creators, as well as talking directly to YouTube in order to get answers for what was going on. And even my YouTube contact wasn't aware.
The fact that YouTube is trying to slip this by like this means they 100% know that it's a cunt move that nobody's going to like. The fact that they're trying to skate this by without like full disclosure or being upfront about it means they know that they do not want like attention being brought to this.
Aware of this until I brought it up and he did digging on his end. And that is absolutely not any fault of his own. That just goes to show you how split YouTube is internally, where things just aren't communicated effectively even on the inside. So how the fuck can they possibly manage to inform the community, I guess? It is so laughable. This policy is a game changer for a lot of channels. You have to completely alter your content strategy depending on like what you do. Like if you play like a certain game that could now be deemed a little too violent for ads, like this is something that changes a lot for many creators. And you have to find out by going through fucking Twitter and then talking to people in whispers on Discord in order to figure out what was happening. That is so pathetic. YouTube's repeated inability to communicate even their biggest changes to the platform just makes no sense. It just can't be that hard to put out clear documents letting people know what's around the corner and an estimated arrival date. I don't see what makes that so difficult and why they struggle so greatly with it. There was one article I found.
I guess they really just want to slip it by. That's the only thing I can think of. Like they just don't want attention brought to it. Like they would rather look duplicitous by sneaking it through than like directly bring that to light. Yeah.
About this in early December, but of course there was no like set time frame for when this would actually launch or if it was even really going to launch for sure. Because all of those things are written so vaguely, you never really know what's going to come to the platform and what's not going to. Like it's just so frustrating to have them constantly make these awful choices without ever consulting creators or users of the platform, obviously, but also just not telling them either. Unfortunately, it's all just another common YouTube L here. I had unmasked the Scooby-Doo villain, and per usual, it was YouTube. So if you're just now figuring this out and wondering why your channel got demonetized over the last 24 hours, I'm sorry I had to be the one to shit out this bad news onto your plate. Would have been a lot more palatable if it came from YouTube's mouth as opposed to my ass, but is what it is. I am very, very convinced they will never actually communicate policy changes, ever.
Cool. Yeah, I still think the most fucked up thing here is the whole you can only monetize your channel if you're able to get 1,000 subs or 4,000 watch hours within the first year. I still think that's the most fucked up thing by far. There are people who have been working tirelessly on their incredibly small channels for like years and years and years. And then it's like, oh no, sorry, the cutoff point was years ago. Does the 1K rule also apply retroactively? Yeah, it would have to. Yeah, so much for keep trying, I guess. You hear what happened to Huts?
YouTube stole a lot of money from me. Like,
I heard that, yeah, this was a little while back, right? YouTube claims there's a bug with their AdSense. They're refusing to pay over 20K because of it. Yeah. The problem with any, like, the problem here is that, like, YouTube does have to make a lot of money to continue to exist because so much server space on YouTube, like, it's so expensive just to keep the number of videos that get put up. Like, I know they have to make their money, but I cannot believe, I cannot believe that this is the way that makes them the most money. I know that managing a social media company has got to be one of the most complicated, unintuitive things in the world, but like, I do not think that people want YouTube to just be another streaming service with a bunch of corporate outlets. And what's more, like, even people like PewDiePie and Markiplier and other like mega YouTubers, even if they have a whole like network of people around them, they're still individuals who interact with the platform as an individual, and they complain sometimes about the decisions that YouTube is making. And I don't understand like what, especially that 1,000 like sub in the first year rule. That seems to me like malicious, like psychotic. I just don't get that. But in terms of like making their money, I don't know. If you could get YouTube, if I could be led to believe that YouTube was worth it, that YouTube was committed to like operating effectively as a platform rather than being this like insanely malicious algorithm driven like shit pile where anytime anything goes wrong, like you just have to deal with the bots and that's it, and talking to a human is impossible. If it was like a real system and service, if it was possible to make it that despite its size, I would feel like I would feel like you could justify like so much shit. I know that this is more of a me thing than a you thing because I'm a YouTuber and I imagine most of you aren't, but like if I could know that if I had a problem with YouTube, I would be able to talk to a human and not a bot, I would like watch so many more ads. I would watch longer ads. I wouldn't care. If I felt like it was all being done to upkeep a valuable service, like I don't care. Like I'm fine, you know? I mean, I have YouTube Red anyway, so I don't have to deal with a bunch of shit because when I'm doing my job, but still, like, you know, conceptually, I'd pay double YouTube Red. I don't care. Like if I felt like it was going towards the ability to maintain something good. But I feel like YouTube is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse with time. Shit like this is so fucking disgusting, man. Oh, wait, hold on. Or wait, Orson Zed might have some good info here. I looked it up and one thing isn't as bad, Vosh. You have to get 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours within a year. Is that true? Not within the first year, but within a year? Because if that's true, that is a lot more defensible. That is like massively okay, that makes more sense. That seems less malicious. Okay. The way that one thing was written made it sound like it had to be within the first year. Okay. I'm a lot happier with that. It's not perfect, but that's so much better, you know? That makes sense at least. Like, the idea would be like you have to demonstrate some kind of like active attention to your channel as opposed to just accumulating it over 12 years but never getting anything more than like one sub every month or something. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, yeah, sorry for spooking people. Sorry, Snowmo. Yeah. Lefty misinfo strikes again, yeah. That would still mean dead channels wouldn't be monetized, right? Yeah, but if that's the case, like, even if they were monetized, they wouldn't get anything from it, right? You have to get a lot of views in order for monetization to really kick in. I wish I was on YouTube back in the golden days before Adpocalypse, back when everything was worth like 4 times as much. I would have been a millionaire. That might actually not be a joke. If I go right now to one of my videos, like something that's a week old that's not demonetized because it happens. Here, things just got worse for Elon Musk. That's a video. Analytics. Yeah, about 160,000 views on a 22-minute video corresponds to $900. Or that would be like for every 1,000 views the video got, that's like 60 cents, I think. I think so. Yeah. Wait. Let's just say that. Let's just go with that, okay? So you need to be operating on pretty large scales, like numerically, for this to pay off. No, wait, that's not right. Wait, hold on. 157,000 divided by 900. I'm sorry, my brain is out of it today. Just no, wait. It'd be 900 divided by 157, right? No. What? I'm too gay to do math right now. I'm sorry. 900 by 157. Okay. So for every 1,000, wait, for every 1,000 views. Oh, I'm so sorry. For every 1,000 views, like $5. Okay, that's a lot better than 60 cents. I was off by a decimal point. $5 for 1,000. That's a lot better. I'm glad I just made 10 times as much money in my head. For a second in my head, I was poor, but now I'm rich again. Thank God. Bringing it back. 573 per 1,000 views. Okay, there we go. All right, we're back. We're back. Whew. Okay. All right. That's the easiest way to grow your wealth. Yeah, the easiest way to grow your wealth is to forget how the money you make and then remember it. Tempest, don't bother me. Do you make a lot of money from ads anyways? The majority of the money that I make is from Google AdSense, yeah, not from donations. The donations contribute like a lot. So it all helps. Anyway, I know this stuff isn't of like public or common interest. Though I would hope that all of you are interested in the health of the channel and like YouTube as a whole. there is a pretty big reason why a lot of people who make like video essays get their income from Patreon or whatever. Uh, it's it's yeah. Rain Man Vosh, yeah. Good to hear, Unorthodox Monkey. Do you make money directly from streaming itself or only the edited videos? All of my live streams are demonetized. There's no sense in monetizing them because I swear in all of them. They'll get demonetized anyway. So if you preemptively demonetize them, your channel doesn't get flagged with yellow $signs. You want to keep it demonetized if you don't think you can get it monetized. So yeah. I say a lot of words too much. But the videos get edited, you know. But for the streams themselves, all the money is from donations, not from stuff. How does it even work? You get a dollar amount of views total or on daily views? Okay, the actual back-end stuff is really complicated, but basically every single ad watched, like every single ad that gets watched while somebody's watching your channel, or if somebody has YouTube Red, gets counted towards systems that determine the relative worth of that watch and contribution based on a lot of variables. And that goes into the bucket, basically. Do your debates usually get monetized or no? Well, if the editors have had a run at them, yeah. The main channel, Poblado. Oh, so it's not about views, it's 100% ads? Well, yeah. Well, it's ads, and also, if somebody has YouTube Red, it will split a portion of the amount you spend on YouTube Red between the content creators you watch based on how much you watch them. So if you have YouTube Red and you watch like one guy all the time, like the entire portion of your YouTube Red viewer allotment will go towards that person. If you watch two creators, then it gets split between those two, like on a monthly basis. So YouTube Red may keep you from seeing ads, but a portion of the amount you spend still goes to the creator, which I actually do like. It means that I'm not disincentivized from you guys getting YouTube Premium. You know what I mean? Like you guys getting it doesn't hurt me, because otherwise it would, because you couldn't see ads, which means you couldn't contribute to that. Yeah, True Tempest. Yeah, they have these numbers in the back end. I thought RedTube was a porn site. Well, YouTube is too, with all those naked yoga videos. Do YouTube Red people give more or less money to creators than regular viewers? I could be off on this, but I'm pretty sure if you have YouTube Red, proportionally, you are giving a lot more money to the people you watch than if you were just watching ads regularly. I think, like, generally speaking, I think you're giving a lot more, I think, like multiple times more. So YouTube Red does help out the people you watch. Do you get YouTube Premium money with videos with monetization off? No, you don't, because it's meant to replace the ad money that you're losing from that person getting YouTube Red. So having it factor into unmonetized videos is like out of the system, which is a bit, because they're still watching the damn videos, but, you know. Okay. Sorry, wait, hold on. We're supposed to be talking politics here. This is all in-game YouTube shit. I need to burden all of you with my zeroth world problems here. What is politics? We're about to find out. Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. You know, not to dogpile, hardly the first person to talk about this, but a guy called very small content creator, you've probably not heard of him, Asmongold, said some silly stuff that we should probably take a look at. You know, the problem that I'm having here is that I actually really like Asmongold as a person. I played a lot of World of Warcraft back when I was younger. And he's a streamer, guys. Anyway, I think he's a really nice and very kind person. Unfortunately, he's also a conservative, which means that he's kind of like legally obligated to have bad takes now and again. So let's just. Do you see people in chat like people not knowing Asmongold? Yeah, I know. Not a lot of Twitch gamers in my community. as it so happens. I know, Bablato. Hold on. We have all the videos. All right. So Asmongold has stuff to say about Andrew Tate getting arrested.
Brothers. What's the probability that the government wants to frame the Tate brothers? I don't know, probably 50%. I think it's pretty high. Like, the government frames people all the time. Like, if we've seen anything out of, like, any of the leaks from, you know, the way that they tried to, you know, fuck with Martin Luther King and people like that, yeah. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. What's that meme? The system fears this, and it's like Andrew Tate and MLK, like, wrapping their arms around each other's shoulders.
The government fucks with people. Yeah. It's Romania. Okay, so yeah. He said it was lower afterwards. Guys, we have Asmongold fans in chat. It's an unbelievably stupid thing to say, obviously. You know, MLK was a civil rights protester. You know, the FBI director told him to kill himself. He was protesting against government, you know, like state mandated segregation. Andrew Tate just sits in his mansion and buys cars. Probably pays a lot of sales tax when he buys them too. I especially like the idea that, like, you would need to frame Andrew Tate for human trafficking or rape or whatever, when, like, every Andrew Tate segment is him leaning into the mic and going, yeah, I love raping women. I love to kidnap women. I love beating women to death. I love all these things. My life has no meaning outside of, like, beating, kidnapping, and raping women. That's literally like 100% my shit, you know? And that's like every single Andrew Tate bit. So I don't know how how hard you'd have to frame him for that. Can you imagine a person more likely to get convicted on sex trafficking? No, I'm really asking. Like, can you imagine a person for whom that would be more on brand? I genuinely can't. He has signaled this as clearly as I imagine you can. Epstein, I would genuinely say that Epstein did not project the image of somebody who would sex traffic as much as Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate practically has a sandwich board over his neck saying, I think women are subhuman and I use them for my business and personal pleasure. Like, you know, I don't think Epstein had the sandwich board around his neck. He might have, though. It's his brand. He sells himself on social media for that. Yeah, Epstein wasn't on Twitter, like, bragging about how he thinks women are subhuman. Maybe he was. If he was, I don't remember it. Either way, we have more. Stop highlighting that. Stop. Thank you. Oh my god. Because system, not trolling, but number one, arrested because system is corrupt, go free because system is corrupt. This just seems like an awkward combination of arguments. No, I think that's a very, very good argument. I think that it even reinforces the part of the argument that people would disagree with. Yes. He could get put in jail and he could have been arrested because it's a fucking it's like some kind of fucking corruption shit. Or
I don't understand what would be driving Asmongold to say that the arrest. Okay, so, like, again, to be clear, not only is there, like, a record of investigation into the Tate brothers for this kind of thing, they have literally, like, bragged about grooming women into being their, like, call girl sex slaves to fleece money out of guys that they took a cut from. He literally talked about fleeing to Romania because the rape laws were less tight there. Like, again, I cannot fathom a pair of people who have more clearly projected their, and that, you know what? Those things do not actually mean that they're guilty of sex trafficking. You know, you still have to prove the case. But, oh my god, in terms of, like, the last arrests that I would assign to corruption, and also, what corruption, by the way? Like, why would the Romanian government just randomly want to do this? You know, they're not like civil rights heroes. Like, what? They're not like anti-government partisans. What are they doing to make themselves enemies of the Romanian government? You know, what corruption? What are we talking about? Woke Romania?
Or he could go free because it's also corruption shit. I think it's actually extremely consistent whenever you really think about it. Well, if you ask him, but he's guilty? I mean, I don't, how do you know that? I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, how do you know that?
I think you have a trial on that. I think you do a trial. Vosh, I've seen Asmon watching Channel 5. His chat is fucking disastrous. They agree with conservatives like 70% of the time. Even Asmon is usually wrong. He's nowhere near his chat. Well, Asmongold, I think, is the largest conservative on Twitch, apart from the resident Andrew Tate simp, Aiden Ross. But Aiden Ross is also, like, violently repellent to people who are older than 11. So I think the older conservatives or like teen conservatives might pile in on Asmongold's channel, because when he talks politics, like, he has the centrist bent often, but centrism basically is conservatism in like function. When you see it play out online, it's like, here's an obvious instance where the conservative is wrong. Let me see both sides to this. You know, it always plays out that way. It's just not as cool to admit you're like conservative leaning, I guess.
You can't say he's guilty until if you don't even know what the charges are. Yeah, well, people don't like Andrew Tate, so it makes sense.
True. Vosh and Shadows, Asmon said he's conservative or something? I don't have like a mental backlog of everything he said. I thought it's been well known for like years that Asmongold is pretty conservative leaning, at least relative to the Twitch base. Is that new? I'm pretty sure that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's well. Yeah. Dude used to have a MAGA hat in his background all the time. Well, that's probably not good. You know, whatever. Doesn't change the takes. Anyway, full disclosure. He admitted he was wrong. Okay, we're going full arc. I just remember him saying a bunch of conservative stuff.
I was talking, so earlier at the stream, I was talking about there were a lot of people who were not happy that I compared the Andrew Tate thing. I used like an example of the government framing somebody as like MLK, right, Mark?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine why people would be upset by that.
Martin Luther King. And I used that example and I said that chances of the government framing him were like 50%. Both of these two things were stupid to say and they're not true.
There we go.
And people said this a bunch of times. Everybody said it was fucking stupid. And I fucking hate having to go on and say that I was wrong. I fucking hate it. I almost never do it. I will find little ways how I wasn't wrong and how it was different. But I was fucking, it was stupid. I shouldn't have said it. That's all there is to it.
I do like Asmon a lot. I do. Yeah, I do like his notepad where he's like, reasons for presumed guilt. Da-da-da-da-da. Reasons against May. You know. It's good. I do like him though. I can't stay mad. Asmongold said he's going to make a ton of money farming Andrew Tate drama. Okay, I have not seen this clip.
But I'm very thankful for this. This is going to be content for me for the next probably 2 weeks.
Wait, to be fair, by the way, you guys realize I'm also going to farm a bunch of money off Andrew Tate drama, right? Like, obviously, it's one of the main things going on right now in internet politics. So, you know, that's not really an impugning of him here. I'm currently doing it.
I'm sure Andrew Tate, with as much of an egomaniac as he is, he'll have the trial televised. We'll be waking up at 8 in the morning every day to watch this. We are going to be farming these guys in or outside of prison, no matter what.
Hell yeah.
I am super excited for it. All of the videos about it are going to be monetized. We're going to make a ton of money off of this.
Hell yeah.
It's just great. I mean, we're entering a new golden age. I'm so happy. So yeah, I don't really give a fuck about this either way. It doesn't matter to me either way.
Got it. To be clear, like, I want to be clear. Even though the taters have like presented themselves as like the most likely people to do sex trafficking in every possible way, you know, that's not itself legal guilt. Like, that does not itself
mean that they're guilty. This isn't a statement of whether or not they are guilty. They could get exonerated. You know, I can't see the future. It's just like all the people leaping to scream this is corruption, which of course, by the way, every conservative has. Like every single conservative on social media has immediately jumped to saying that it's corruption. This is the Matrix coming after him. He's like spoken the truth. I swear to God, you could have gotten a conservative movement to like wholeheartedly back Epstein if only 1 month before getting arrested he'd done this whole like, I'm standing up against the woke mind virus. If they come after me, it's because they're silencing the dissenters. And then he would have gotten arrested. They wouldn't have cared about anything after that because they do not give a shit. If people get raped or whatever, they don't care. They're conservatives. But it's not a statement on like the actual guilt. It's a statement on like if you jump to immediately screech like corruption, fake, not real, literally any time, even the most obvious sex trafficking guys get accused of and arrested for sex trafficking, then it's not really about like, you're not really doing the like skepticism or like challenging the government or anything like that. All you're actually doing is leaping to defend your own people, right? It's yet another one of those things where like they adopt the aesthetic of progressive critique in a way that's actually deeply fascist, which is a lot of lefties fell for this with Trump as well, where Trump would like call out the American government, and some lefties were like, dude, yeah, he's calling. It's like, no, he's not. He's not calling out the American government. He's calling out the liberal democratic institutions in the American government. You know, if we go by this standard, you'll never guess who the loudest critics of the Weimar Republic were, right? Like, don't fall for that. Like, dude, he's anti-establishment. Yeah, the establishment of democracy and liberalism. Dude, liberals suck, bro. Yeah, but did you know there's at least one thing worse than liberalism? It starts with an F. You all know. But like we're gonna keep getting this. They've given him his phone in Romanian jail, so we're getting like Elon Musk tweeted a Matrix meme. You know, I assume that the Wachowski sisters are just like seething over this, which probably is at least partly the point. Twisting an anti-capitalist and like trans narrative into being some kind of weird endorsement of like fascism. Is he going to be tweeting? Andrew Tate? Dude, yeah, he's wealthy. Dude, Andrew Tate is like a super wealthy guy in a corrupt country, Romania. Of course, dude, he's rich. I will be surprised if he gets convicted. How often do like multimillionaires get convicted of anything? The Matrix sent their agents. So I guess this means like literally like Greta Thunberg forced the Romanian government to deploy their anti-terrorism unit. I have no idea. Anyway, please, just memes aside, don't fall for this stuff. I know people are falling for this stuff. Please don't fall for this stuff. Come on, you're better than that. Thunberg, not Thunberg? All right. He was also holding a U.S. citizen against her will, so there's a chance he gets extradited to the U.S. I don't know. I don't want to speculate about any of the legal stuff. I don't know anything about like the Romanian legal system. Anything I say would just be a guess, basically. So Matrix is thinly veiled JQ, right? I mean, it is the same. Yeah, the Matrix, the deep state, all like the blue pill, all these things refer to the exact same basic idea, which is like you are cucked by progressive liberal democracy, and the only way to wake up is to do fascism. It's basically the same thing every time. Though I do think it's most funny in the case of Andrew Tate, because they keep using these like Matrix allegories when Andrew Tate's literal explicit recommendation to men is that they stop taking pleasure from anything and dedicate their lives to buying expensive stuff that advertisers recommend to them to impress other men. That is, without exaggeration, in its totality, the thing he tells you to consume. That's literally it. Consume. That's it. That is literally like, oh yeah, dude, take the red pill, wake up from the Matrix, and you know, buy these expensive cars. What? At least like people and plenty of people idealize both of these figures, but at least Tyler Durden was explicitly anti-conspicuous consumption, right? Like he lived in a dilapidated manner. He owned basically nothing. The whole point was that ownership was bullshit anyway. You know, fuck capitalism, et cetera, et cetera. And he was hot. Critical distinction there. Um, but then you have Andrew Tate with the exact opposite message, which is, yeah, the purpose in your life is to impress other men by buying expensive stuff before they do. And it's like, okay. I really wish I could talk to some Andrew Tate fans or anything, or I could never talk to him himself because he could barely hold it together talking to Hassan while Hassan was lightly ribbing him. A conversation with me would probably make him like, I don't know, pee? He's very fragile, like sincerely. But I would love to like I need one of these like alpha men, one of these big alpha dudes. Yeah, maybe Aiden Ross one day. I want to know, like I want to talk to them. Can you explain to me like how is it manly to not enjoy anything in life and to live to buy things to impress other men? First of all, how is that not fucking gay? First of all. And second of all, like, how is that not the most soy-pilled consumer bullshit in the universe? Like, how can you possibly be selling that as waking up from the Matrix? It's not even fragile masculinity or whatever. Like, buying hyper expensive shit to impress other men, that's not even like a traditional masculine archetype. It's not. Like the idea of being the breadwinner is, but what he's advocating for is closer to like a Zoolander style hyper consumerist metrosexuality, which is fitting because Andrew Tate does kind of look like the stereotype of an early aughts metrosexual with like his dick sucking lips. No, but yeah, no, I agree, Conyer. In terms of like the idea of somebody living to go shopping so they can wear all the nicest clothes and show off to all the boys, that's a pretty feminine attribute. Like when I think of like, yeah, what like if I had to gender the idea of spend your whole life working to buy things to impress other people of your gender in the clout game, I think of that as a feminine thing. Personally, I think of like housewives, mean girl shit. You know what I mean? Like Stepford, like, you know, who's got the newest Chanel or whatever. That's what I think of. I have no idea how this is being sold as masculinity or as empowering or as waking up from the Matrix or literally anything. And I need one of these super alpha dude bros to explain it to me. See, that $100 that I was just donated by Jacob, you know what that's going towards? Anything fancy? Nope. You think that's going towards anything, you know, fancy new car? What? No, you know what that's going towards? My next $5, or sorry, £5 bag of Pez, which is an austere life necessity that Tyler Durden himself would have approved of. It's just weird. Thank you, by the way, very much for the donut. It's very kind of you. I just want to talk to some of these alpha dude bros. I want to. Also cat food. We get good cat food for the babies. I just want to talk to one of these alpha dude bros. You should try to talk to Sneeko, call him a retard on Twitter. So the problem with Sneeko is that he's like a retarded infant. He's got like a soup brain. I've seen him have convos with other people. Like intellectually, he's on the level of like you bring him in call and you will say anything to him and then he'll giggle and say like penis really loud. And then when you say what? He'll do it again and like that's the conversation. You could go to like any Xbox live chat room in the world and have a more interesting conversation. I want to talk to somebody who actually wants to defend the ideas, not just like who gets off on attention, I guess. Aiden Ross is really fucking dumb, but I also don't think I think he's enough of a dick sucker for Andrew Tate that he would have to defend some of those ideas. But I'm also not big enough to talk to Aiden Ross. He's too big. He's like larger than Hassan. It's pretty wild. Feel like Fresh and Fit will talk to anyone. Yeah. Aiden can't read. Yeah, Aiden can't read. We got to do the Fresh and Fit bit. You should watch Aiden's call to Hassan. Today he's so dumb, it's very funny. What call? What are you referring to? Aiden is too stupid to defend the ideas. I mean, I guess. I know he's just doing it for clout. It's so fucking crazy that like it feels like 90% of the people whose job it is to promote bad ideas online do it entirely for money. Like there's no actual rooted belief in so much of the stuff that gets said or promoted. Aiden Ross called Hassan after Tate was arrested.
Are you really
On
gonna?
the phone?
You better not shave your head, bro. What are you? Are you in a cult? What is this? Like he's making you shave your head?
I'm shaving it. Yes, I am.
No, don't do that.
Yes.
That motherfucker's bald, bro. You're not.
It's not about stopping Andrew's. It's not about that. No, it's about disciplining myself.
What?
Okay, right off the bat, this is like a meme video, or this is like a meme call, right? This is for clout. Yeah, Aiden Ross is just like, oh, he got arrested. Like we can make money off it. He doesn't actually care, right?
Discipline yourself in a different way. You don't.
Stuff he says, right? And it's on my streams and everything. And you know this because you've seen it.
I know.
I don't 100% agree with the guy on everything. You know I don't. So,
Yeah, but you still hang out with him. You like him a lot. So
bro,
I'm like
because
worried.
He actually does preach some very, like,
Bro, the
become
shit that he
version of
preaches
yourself.
that's like good is literally go to the gym and like actually fucking.
But why is nobody doing that?
What do you mean? I say that every day. It's
You
not
do
like a
Every conversation with people like Jordan Peter, or like about people like Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate with their simps is like, dude, he has good advice. He tells people to drink water and like do light stretches sometimes. And then like 99.9% of their content has nothing to do with drinking water or doing light stretches and everything to do with fascism. And it's like, okay, like, dude, he's not all bad. Sometimes he says, I hope, hello. And that's nice. That greeting is really positive. And I watch him so that he says hello that one time in this one video. Does Hassan not realize it's a troll call? Well, I mean, he's playing into it for the content, right? Like he doesn't, like if he just hangs up, there's not really a point. If there's anything that bothers me, it's having conversations with people who don't care about the stuff that we're talking about. Like I don't want to do that, you know? But that's all everyone is doing these days because the fascists are either smart enough to realize that directly engaging with talking points against them is like very bad for them because they look like idiots, or they care about what they're saying so little that they'll just dance around it, which is something fascists like to do. Yeah, pretty dumb. Aiden recognized the dangers of platforming Kanye, but not Tate. Aiden doesn't care about anything other than money. Tate has enough self-control to like maintain a functional racket, and Kanye doesn't. Kanye is insane, like actually mentally ill. Tate isn't, or at least I don't know if he is. He can run a business. Kanye is just like a permanent meltdown. The reason Ross didn't want to platform Kanye is because he didn't know whether he'd say something to get his channel banned. That's it. All right, cut the segment. And get ready for a new segment. I'm so tired of this objectively correct take getting dumped on all the time by lefties. I'm so tired of it, okay? The reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements is because the left gives brain-dead advice to young men. We need to be more compassionate to them for our own sake. 900 quote tweets. I cannot believe this has to keep being said. I need just so you fully understand this, okay? Just so you're like fully aware, okay? Just so you know. So much of what the left says about and to men makes them look psychotic to like regular guys because it is, you know? Like there is so much shit that that just gets taken for granted in left spaces that gets no questioning at all from like other people in this space that from the outside looks psychotic, like completely psychotic. First of all, let's be clear, okay? In a lot of spaces on the left, you can make a ton of jokes about men being like objectively genetically inferior to women or non-binary people, or about it being okay to hurt or kill men. Like that is not uncommon at all. Like if you don't think that's a frequent thing that pops up in left spaces, you either have had good luck in the types of left spaces you associate with, or you're being dishonest. You all agree with me on this, right? It happens a lot. And again, like, I understand that oftentimes this is being done with like this sort of systemic meta irony that takes into account male privilege, which means blah, blah, blah. But like, holy shit, like, it's fucking psychotic. another big thing is that so much of like entering the left is about self-improvement, and self-improvement is a good thing, like generally, but it's a really bad prerequisite to joining what should be a group that we want everyone to be in, you know? Like you want the barrier to being on the left to be informational. Like, oh, what's your perspective? You know, what do you want? But are there going to be problematic lefties, like guys who come in who don't know everything? Yeah, there already are. Like, there's a ton, like, of problematic people all over the left, like everyone, because nobody's perfect. Like, seriously, this is not an avoidable thing. But people seem to think that like there's some kind of existential threat to the integrity of leftism if you let problematic people in. Buddy, the existential threat is not letting enough people in. The problems with the left are entirely a numbers game. The left in America is not failing because guys who are still slightly misogynistic are allowed into the social spaces. The problem with the left is that there aren't enough of them. There is no social movement that has ever captured the public interest without being able to accept the problematic differences in people's perspectives on a variety of issues. I feel like you've said this before. I will never stop saying this. I will never stop saying this. I refuse to stop saying this because the left doesn't stop doing this. Like, we can read through this thread. Why not? Sure. I'm sure because I like cool people, the good responses will be bumped to the top or whatever. See, that's a good response right there. This you? I don't come fast. I merely finish quick to disappoint white women as revenge for colonialism and settler violence against minorities. Is this meant to be a dig? That was a great tweet. Yeah. That's great. What? Okay. Opinion, eye roll jerk off motion from Robocop Facts. Thank you. They don't even follow me, which means they suck. Weird take. Here's the actual advice I give to my teen boys as a leftist. Always get enthusiastic. Damn. Oh my God. Save the planet. Thank you, Dr. Abe, for your incredible advice. I thought we were having this huge issue of millions and millions of men, like, not getting any answers on how to behave as a man or how masculinity should be sort of channeled and built, moving to the far right because they were the only groups talking about this. But you have salient advice, like, you guys need to be nicer. Would you like to spend some time with me today? That's what I'm always hitting the fascists with online, you know? If only we could reach out to every single one of them and go, hey, save the planet, dog. Brianna Wu had a similar take she deleted. Brianna Wu was forced to delete a base thread. Might be an unpopular opinion, but if you look at every statistic, young men are failing to make friends, enter the workplace, find relationships. Objectively true. They are adrift, lonely, and horny. They're falling for scam. You think it's a social problem that young men aren't having sex? Brianna Wu. It's actually misogynistic to say that young men not having sex might be an issue for those young men. That there might be a social failing with not having sex because it ties into loneliness and the inability to find companionship. They're falling for scams like Tesla and crypto as an identity. Here comes the unpopular part. I think when it comes to men in the social media space, we need to appreciate the ones doing a generally good job at providing a counter narrative. I think there's a real tendency to crucify the decent one over missteps. Oh my God, yes. Vosh is... Brianna! Who's that? Who that? That's me! You want to delete this thread? Fuck! Vosh, a good example. Vosh, you are my friend, but you do tell the occasional sexist joke. No, I don't. But overall, I think it'd be smart to look at the overall work, because unlike Andrew Tate, Vosh is not out there telling men to blame everything in the world on feminists. Notice this one had an uptick in comments relative to the likes. Any figure on the left who talks primarily to men is never going to live up to the ideals of a feminist academic symposium. We need to accept that and cut our figures doing decent overall work or break. De-radicalize and generate support work. Dude, this is based as fuck. I'm glad my subreddit for once has a correct opinion on something. 800 upvotes. Pretty good for the sub. Aw. Guys. Unironically, same Bosch definitely stopped you from going down some bad paths. Vosh kept me from going insane. I could see all the failures of liberalism. I refused to walk down the right fork. I didn't see any place for myself in the left. ContraPoints was the first streamer I found talking about trans stuff who didn't treat me like a piece of shit for not being in the position to take a gender studies class. And from there I found Vosh. A half joke I make is being a cishet white male leftist gives you a unique perspective on what it's like for the right to hate you for what you believe and the left to hate you for what you are. Usually it's the other way around. Oh, I love you guys. Look, at the end of the day, okay, here's the thing. We already know that like purity testing is a big problem on the left. In to the sense that like I don't think there's anything wrong with having standards, but obviously the higher you set your standards, the more people are going to be excluded, and there is a fine line there, right? Like you have to be sensible. And there are also a lot of people who get like social capital out of being better than other groups. The main thing is like, let's be real. In the left, there is an ultimate like fucking holdout gun that you have, okay? If you're anyone other than a white guy, you have the holdout gun. And the holdout gun is at least there's one group with more social power than me. So if you're a white woman, but you're kind of problematic, you can leverage the fact that you're not a man as a way of adding to leftist conversations. If you're a woman, even if you have some problematic tendencies, you can say stuff about the relationship between men and women and the way in which it disadvantages women, and that will get accepted and treated seriously in the left. If you're black, like a black guy or whatever, even if there are problematic tendencies, and you guys know this, by the way, because you've seen this happen, haven't you? Right? Black guys with, let's say, not clean records on being leftists have something to say about racism. They have something to say about not being white, about being treated black, the stuff that comes with it. And that gets added to the discourse. You know what I mean? Now, here's the problem, okay? There is like so much more to the left than just adding your story of how you two are a victim of some system of oppression. The left is like a really broad political movement, you know? It's not like a fucking collective writing course where everyone gets to add in their take on how they personally have been disadvantaged by the systems we live in. But for some reason, like, that seems to be the line. And if that's the line, like, man, straight white dudes have like no in that might let them get familiar with the community and develop left tendencies in other ways. Every straight white guy is to the left as a group, an outsider and an enemy unless treated otherwise. And you know that's true. You know that's true, don't you? You know that's true because you've seen how they are talked about. I'm not talking about like social oppression or like, oh, straight white men are oppressed. Well, I'm talking entirely about like inclusivity within the left as a broader movement where they are treated by default as like an external threat unless they're able to prove that they can be of value to the left. And that's a really fucked up wall to build based on like a person's race and gender and what, like, that's pretty weird in my opinion. I think that's pretty strange. But look at the attitudes that people take when this very basic, keep in mind, the original statement here was literally the reason young men flock to these alt-right movements because the left gives brain dead advice to young men. This is true. The left barely gives any advice to young men, like at all. The left gives plenty of advice to young women in part of the whole, like, how do you deal with oppression bit. The left does not talk about masculinity or how to get by life as a guy or how to manage, like, the standards placed on you by society while also trying to be a good person. The left broadly is really bad at talking about this, like pathetically so. What do you get for this statement? Me, women are people actually, sad young men, I'm going to become a Nazi. Thank you, Conrad Hotdish. What an excellent good faith contribution to the discourse. More likes than the original tweet, by the way. Thank you, that's fantastic. The Sid's original tweet definitely said something that warranted this fucking non sequitur of a response. What is this? Do they think that Sid is saying we shouldn't say women are people? It doesn't mean anything. What this is a low IQ, reflexive, reactionary, and I mean that in the sense like reactionary politics, rejection of information inconvenient. I think the problem starts with assuming men need specific advice that applies to them and not to women. What the fuck are you talking about? When did it become controversial to say that different bits of advice might be valuable to different groups of people? What the fuck are you talking about? You get this psycho shit come out of the left. Intersectionality, gone. Like critical analysis, gone. The moment you say something like, hey, we should probably like try to incorporate men into our movement, considering they're like half of all people, you get people with these psychotic, insane, fucking brainless responses. What advice? Don't rape? Well, sure. I think, yeah, I mean, that would also be good. Maybe you could talk about like, here's some advice for a guy that kind of ties into this. That's pretty like guy specific. Maybe advice on how to navigate social and party situations where other people are being kind of rapey or predatory and you're not, but you don't really know where the line is. You know, not every guy is like, you know what lefties think? Lefties think that every straight white guy is a jock. They think that every straight white guy is some kind of like bully in a high school sitcom who like is like bad and mean because they just sort of flippantly reject kindness and decency to other people as a standard. So, what advice? Don't rape. This person thinks that the average guy who's falling into the alt-right like pipeline is some kind of like sneering dipshit at a party who's like despises women. They cannot conceive of middle grounds because they don't think of guys as like people, really. They can't think of guys being like so socially awkward that they genuinely don't understand consent. That might be nice to talk about a little bit, just like slightly. Hey, here's some nice advice for guys that's pretty specific to guys. How can you tell when a woman's flirting with you? If your advice to a guy, if he asks that, is, well, just ask her if she's flirting with you, you're retarded and you should leave the internet. Never breed, never talk to another human. Walk into a forest. Go play Minecraft IRL. Dude, consent is easy. Just ask. Yeah, I agree. You should ask. But there's a lot of like weird intermediaries before you're at a point where you're asking for consent to have sex with somebody. How do you know if somebody's coming on to you? How do you know if somebody's interested in you at all? How do you know if a chick is interested in the conversation you're having with her? Or if she's kind of leaning off? If you don't think this is gendered advice, go play Minecraft IRL, okay? Women and men interact with each other differently in most social situations, especially ones that might tie into romance. Is that good? No. I would love it if every person was capable of acting every way and there was a lot more diversity in the pattern or the dynamic, you know? But that's not the world we live in. We live in the real world, which has real problems that are messy, that lefties don't want to talk about. No. The reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements because someone's telling them precisely what they want to hear, that their worst, most selfish impulses are right on point. Left advice is not brain dead so much as it lacking in this kind of transgressive thrill. Oh, I guess we're already doing perfect then. I thought it might be prudent for people who are a part of political movement to make an effort to try to rope in millions of people who could be potential powerful allies. But never mind. I guess actually this is just like an innate problem and men will just naturally flock to alt-right MRA movements because of their what? Biology? And we just can't compete. There's nothing we can do, guys. Pack it in. It's so fucking essentialist. I hope everyone watching right now understands that I'm not just impugning these points for being stupid. This is like bad lefty analysis. These people shouldn't consider themselves leftists. If you were in like the lefty room, okay? If you were in like the lefty zone and you gave takes like this, I feel like everyone should give you the like Vine boom sound effect, Dwayne the Rock Johnson eyebrow. This is like, it's not acceptable to say stuff like this as a leftist. The reason they flock to these movements is because they are raised in a society that tells them they deserve ultimate power in personal and professional life. Oh, damn, dude. We live in a society? And overall to be treated like a king and the right says society is denying you your right, I will teach you to take it back. Yeah, well, I guess we can't do anything. Dude, wow. The reason men tend to move to the right is because of society? I thought society was like a complex interweave of different power groups that we have some control over and we can use our influence to create messaging that's appealing in spite of like predominant trends. Like, they do realize that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was instrumental in moving the discourse over on race, even though white people were raised in a society that told them they deserve ultimate power, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you really think there's never been a social movement that has like contributed to a socially powerful group of people?
changing their perspective on something. Like everything is exactly the same as it was back during the Roman era. MLK was hated in his time. Yeah, he was. And you know what? He still moved things over. He was hated. But if MLK, can you imagine if MLK was like these chuckle fucks? MLK was like, yeah, dude, whatever. Like, broader society makes white people want to be like racist. So, like, whatever, dude. So, somebody up at the top of the thread is like, I think we should try to find ways to keep white people from being racist. MLK coming in with the hot take. No, I don't think we should try to do that because nothing matters anyway. By the way, I'm very useful and shouldn't go into the forest and play Minecraft IRL. Fuck me, dude. So are we going to compare you to MLK now? No. I'm far more powerful than he ever was. He's a boomer. Okay, I'm okay boomering MLK. What was his Twitter follow count? Huh? 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 What even is this? Leftist men will really address every issue under the sun except misogyny in the movement. What the I am misogynistic against you, Caro. Shut the fuck up. Feminist? No, you're not. Feminism, if it truly is an ideology about bringing about gender equality, must necessarily include an effort to pull men away from fascism because, buddy, trust me, fascism is not going to come along with gender equality. Jesus Christ. Well, it's like, yeah, I'm a feminist. And by the way, I think that it's bad when you try to make other men more feminist by giving them messaging that appeals to those men and brings them over to the left. By feminist, what I actually meant is that I dislike men, and I like it when I can get birth control pills. Well, guess what, Carl? When the fascists win, I hope they take yours away first. Fuck you. I fucking hate these people. I hate these people so fucking much, dude. Holy shit. Wow. Lefty men will really like to talk about anything other than, trans misogyny in the 1980s Sri Lankan leftist consulate. Shut up. I hate these people. I hate them so fucking much, dude. What is that? What is that tweet? Man, I like waffles. Why do you hate pancakes? Bitch, that is a whole new sentence. I agree the left doesn't give young men good reasons to leave these movements. Okay. But no, the left didn't invent misogyny by being too cringe. When did he say that? Why would you agree with the point right here? The first sentence, completely agree with Sid. Oh yeah, I agree. But also, like, unlike what you've said, I don't think the Holocaust was good. Thank you for your contribution, Nomad. It's a whole new fucking arguing with ghosts. They're ghost boxing out here. They're fucking... But they're out here battling goddamn specters. This happens every fucking time you bring guys up. This is why Brianna Wu had to delete that thread, by the way, because shit heels like these people were probably in there giving her a fuck ton of trouble for saying something obvious and objectively correct. My heart goes out to those poor babies who were left with no real choice but to enthusiastically support the sex trafficker. Surely they are the real victims. Hey, do you think we should make an effort to expand our progressive movement? Oh, those... No. No, I don't. Those poor people who we haven't reached out to, why would we want to reach out to? What are they talking about? I'll tell you why. You know? It's because these people don't like men. That's seriously it. Is that controversial? They just don't like men. Not liking men isn't uncommon, you know. It's you know, there are people form dislikes for large groups of people for a variety of reasons. Social conditioning, interpersonal experiences, and men have plenty of both as like fuel to the fire of disliking men. That doesn't justify bigotry, by the way. You could say the same of racism of any group. I certainly think that white people have done plenty to give black people a reflexive dislike of white people, and vice versa, depending on where you live and what media you consume. It's all wrong. We're just talking about, like, reflexive, intuitive bigotry, right? A lot of people don't like men. And what we're seeing right now is basically a perfect mirror reaction
to the way a lot of the Andrew Tate fans reacted to Greta Thunberg making fun of Andrew Tate. Because whenever you see a woman make fun of somebody like Andrew Tate, you get this like sputtering, reflexive, low IQ, like defensive, hate-filled, like blustering in response from a lot of guys, because they cannot stand being upped by a woman. You know, they hate that. And we're seeing here essentially just the perfect mirror image of that, obviously in a much less like socially harmful fashion, you know, because obviously like lefties who hate men aren't socially harmful in the way that the reverse is, like, by at all, you know, like there are plenty of black people who don't like white people, like a lot, but obviously that doesn't manifest in the same socially harmful way. The reason young men flock to RA movements, because these MRA movements all boil down to get money, fuck bitches, which sounds cool and adventurous, while leftists give advice like don't sexually exploit women or confront your own feelings, which is kind of lame. Yeah! Confront your own feelings and don't sexually exploit women are pretty... Is that all you're saying? Like, hey, I'm a young guy. I feel like I don't really know how to behave as a man because I want to be masculine and society wants me to be masculine. And I do kind of like the idea of being like a strong, like, I don't know, kind of like alpha guy. But I know that there's also like a lot of really weird and like misogynistic stuff. And I don't really know how to navigate that. And I don't really know how to engage with women because I feel like women half the time want me to be like an old traditional guy. And sometimes they want me to be like a progressive guy. And I don't really know where the line is. And I don't really know how to like channel this stuff. And I feel like a lot of my interests are turning into like kind of like this socially sort of discouraged in a lot of ways, or like it feels like it's unintelligent to like the things that I like, and I don't know if I'm being too autistic when I talk about the stuff I like, and it feels like people don't. And then oh yeah, dude, bro, don't rape women and be a better person. Done. Got it. Lefty advice over. Hey, you're welcome, by the way. Welcome to the movement. Yeah, dude, be better and don't rape. All right, good luck. We got it. Heading out. Don't rape women is such lame advice. Well, the funny thing is, it genuinely betrays like a lack of social analysis from the lefties who say that. Trust me, guys, okay? People who rape, guys who rape, either know they're raping or don't. If they know they're raping, telling them to not won't change their behavior. If they don't know they're raping, telling them to not will prompt the response, what the fuck, I'm not. It is a inherently meaningless thing to say. Now you can say meaningful things, like you can talk about the nature of consent and you know, the ways in which you can navigate complicated social situations and how to confront your friends, blah blah. But of course, that would require empathizing with men in difficult social situations, which not on our left. Whatever. I feel like I've made my point here. It just it bugs me. It really bugs me. It's just really dumb. It's not difficult to give advice to guys. You need to address the anti-straight stuff as well. There is some anti-straight stuff. I do think it's like less repellent than the like anti-guy, like weird anti-guy stuff, but it does crop up, you know. There are a lot of lefties who treat being a minority like a personality. And who boy, buddy, if your personality is being gay or trans or black or whatever the fuck else, you are one boring motherfucker. Holy Christ. Let's say I'll give trans girls, because trans guys are less embarrassing than trans girls. I'm really being kind here. That's how estrogen works. I'll give trans girls 6 months after they transition, where their entire personality can be them being trans. But after that, that's your freebie time burnt off right there. Yeah, they take estrogen. They're literally chugging stupid juice there. How do we make space for men on the left? I think there's infinite space in the left for guys. It's just you have to give them a hook. One of the things that I've noticed, like I've talked about a lot of these issues like 50 times on stream, and I'll never get tired of talking about them, is that there are a lot of guys who are kind of like the guy that I just pantomimed a second ago. They want to be masculine in a lot of ways, because a lot of the stuff that we consider masculine is like pretty cool, actually. Like being big and strong is cool. I think, right? I like being tall and strong.
You know, the idea of being kind of commanding and authoritative, those are not bad traits by default. If you're like rude about it or presumptuous, it can be, but by default, I think it can be fine. The idea of having like a kind of calm, passive authority, these things are valued, like universally. Even in lefty spaces or whatever, like people who have a calm, passive authority are reliable leaders in a lot of ways. These are good things to be, and they're masculine traits. That doesn't mean women can't have them, but we do associate them with masculinity. And a lot of guys kind of like want that, but they also know that if they go down that road with the blinders on, there's a bunch of like, you know, supplement salesmen, gym bros, and like pickup artists like paving that road, where like if you set a course directly for I want to be a masculine guy, put the blinders on, don't pay attention to where you're going, and zoom forward, before you know it, you're going to be like a crypto fascist. And that's because so much of the like messaging on what it means to be a guy is filled with this bullshit like return to tradition, you know, you need a barefoot pregnant housewife, whatever. And if that's the line you're running down, like, okay, well then we're just ceding masculinity to the right, which is dumb for so many reasons, not the least strategic. You can avoid all of that by offering like avenues of how you kind of balance masculinity with you know, more left-leaning tendencies. And what you find, by the way, when you do that is that there's not actually a balance. You can be like totally masculine in left-leaning spaces with no compromises whatsoever. If you spend too much time online, you get the impression that being around lefties, being with other lefty people or whatever, like you as a guy need to always be apologizing. You know, you need to apologize for the space you take up, for the words you speak. You need to take up as little space as possible and leave room for other people. In reality, first of all, it's very rarely like that, and if it ever is, you can just leave, you know? There are communities of people socially, politically, who are very fragile and don't really like being around guys being masculine, and you can just say like, oh, fuck off and leave. That's fine. That's allowed. There are going to be weird groups of people no matter where you go. I'm sure that if I was like exclusively looking in right-leaning circles, I would probably pretty quickly find like weird church groups who didn't like the fact that I swear, or that were like so prudish that it was off-putting to be around them. And I would also say fuck off and leave those. Like there are always going to be social spaces that are just inhospitable to the kind of person you want to be, regardless of whether you're on the left or the right. But I think, in my experience, talking with a lot of left-leaning people, hanging out with them in person, going to protests, leading student groups, doing extracurricular projects that put me in contact with lefties all around the state, and I can say this confidently, okay? As long as you're like cool and not weird, nobody really dislikes masculine guys. Because it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's cool. Really? Sure, there are a lot of weird lefty online circles where people are performatively misandrist, but I don't think you have to sacrifice much as a guy to get along just fine in these social spaces. And that's the message you need to hook with. You need to make it clear that you're not sacrificing anything by joining up with the left. You're not weakening yourself. You're not cucking yourself out. You're not prostrating or castrating yourself to other people. You're not apologizing constantly. How often do I apologize? Honestly, it takes a bit of social etiquette, and you have to learn some stuff. But etiquette and learning are fine. I mean, that's part of growing up, right? So, not harmful. Yes, a lot of online lefty communities are hyper fragile and punitive, but I genuinely think that's more of an issue you'll have online, where the loudest voices like ring clearest, the most obnoxious people, more so than in real life. I genuinely like. I want it to be incredibly clear. Okay, whatever image a guy has of themselves, whether I'm gonna be straight up. Okay, if you want to like have a trad wife who stays at home and wears an apron, you can do that and be on the left. There's space for you. Legit, there is, okay? If you want to be some kind of like mega like horny fuckboy and just like go to clubs every night and just rail a bunch of people and have a great time, you can do that and be on the left. If you want to be some kind of like ultra alpha, like on your grind set kind of guy who really focuses on the gym and business or whatever, you can do that and be on the left. The only obstacles here are culturally associative. There's nothing inherently inimical to these things. They're not mutually exclusive in any way. They're fine. You can do whatever. You can do whatever. But a lot of people online want to make it very clear that not only do you have to be some incredibly like prostrating, like apologetic guy to get in on this, you also have to like accept the fact that any acknowledgement of or discussion of problems specific to you is violence against other groups within the online left, which is fucking bullshit and absolutely a product of reflexive misandry, which we just tolerate in the online left because it's not, I don't know, as immediately socially harmful. But I would remind anyone who feels that way that misandry was the building block to the modern TERF movement. The modern TERF movement is literally built off of second wave feminists whose radical analysis basically boiled down to men are different from women, comma, and worse. And you'll never guess where hyper-essentialist, biologically driven arguments against inclusivity led them. Essentialism is just bad. It's also fairly recent that men on the left have been painted as less masculine. It is true that if you go back 100 years, union leaders and like like IWW guys or like Soviet revolutionaries or Bolsheviks weren't really painted as feminine or emasculated in the way that modern left-leaning guys are. A lot of this has to do with like the nature of social progressivism and the way the discourse has evolved. But just remember, okay, your ancestors' shoulders filled out some pretty hefty fucking overalls, okay? Your ancestors, they filled some big boots. They filled some wide goddamn white t-shirts that they wore underneath those overalls. Literally, Connor. Whoops. This has aged like wine. It really has.
White! Sorry I'm male! Sorry I'm white! Sorry I'm male! Sorry I'm white! I'm sorry I'm male! What?
Look, man, it might hurt to accept this, and I've been on YouTube all through the Gamergate era, but this criticism of the online left, the idea that they're demanding you constantly prostrate and apologize for being a white guy, is true. That is true, and it is still a problem. This is a valid criticism.
Why am I a monster?
True. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Please, listen, okay? Take it from me. Okay, listen. Take it from me, the loudest white guy in the online left, okay? In terms of being like loud guy and loud white guy, take it from me. There are a lot of people who want you to be doing this shit, okay? Why do you love me? Because I don't. Because I stand true. I spent 8 goddamn months arguing with, like, black ethnic cleansing defenders, being called a racist white boy the entire time. And did I back off? No. I got louder the entire time. While this is a small link, what do you think about Planet Fitness and the idea of a lunk? Listen, Planet Fitness is like a good, like, baby gym if you're just trying to do some regular, like, exercise. I always thought the lunk alarm was really dumb. It's basically just a way to name and shame guys who are, like, a little bit too aggro when they're weightlifting. If they actually cared about keeping the gym etiquette quiet, they could just have a rule on keeping it quiet. And if somebody violates that rule, then a worker could go over and go like, hey, can you be more quiet? But having it called a lunk alarm... Oh, sorry. A lot of you don't know what a lunk alarm is. The lunk alarm in Planet Fitness, which is a chain of gyms, is whenever like a meathead is meatheading,
An alarm will go off. It's like really embarrassing. A lunk, one who grunts, drops weights, or judges. So you shouldn't drop weights or like judge other people at the gym. However, grunting during some exercises is really normal. Also, look at this. Ricky is slamming his weights, wearing a bodybuilding tank top, and drinking out of a gallon water jug. What a lunk. What the fuck is wrong with wearing a tank top and drinking from a water jug at the gym? What do you what? What the fuck is wrong with that? Oh, sorry, I'll bring my half-gallon water bottle. Yeah, okay. It's basically the idea of Planet Fitness is that they were trying to appeal to like women and I guess I don't know, soy boys. I mean, I don't know how successful they're doing these days. I always felt like it was really cringy. It always felt super cringy to me. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Beginner fitness types. I don't have anything against beginner fitness types at all. I just don't like the way it was framed with the thing. Grunting is also important for being able to keep form. There's nothing wrong with grunting when you exercise. Again, like you can be too annoying with it. Sure, you can overdo it, but there's nothing wrong with grunting at all. Like 99% of the people with a membership don't go. That was their business model. It's based around New Year's resolutions and uncanceled memberships. Yeah, the main thing about Planet Fitness is that when you go there, it's lacking something that every other gym I've ever been to has, which is fucking insane bodybuilders. If you're at a real gym, like every real gym will have a couple of guys who are there for 3 hours a day who are literally just like 320 pounds of meat. With not a drop of fat on them, like nothing. That is just an essential part of the gym experience. And they're on steroids? Of course they're on steroids. Yeah. But Planet Fitness doesn't have that. Steroids are cringe, though. Whatever makes you happy. I don't fucking care. And often they're really nice and helpful. Yeah, one of the funniest things, by the way, is that the stereotype of like the lunk or the like gym bro who's super douchebaggy, not true. Really muscular guys at the gym treat the gym as a social space in addition to a place to work out. Obviously, they're there all the time, which means that they're usually the first people to recommend like lifting advice, and you should listen, by the way. Guys, if you're ever about to do a squat, like a weighted barbell squat in the squat rack, and somebody with shoulders wider than you are tall walks up to you and asks you to take your earbuds out, please God, listen to them, okay? Please fucking God. You need to listen very carefully because they're about to tell you you're doing something wrong, and they're probably right. Yeah, they are saving your life, basically. Yeah, the super muscular people tend to be really, really nice. Sure, not all of them, but, you know. And they're never like mean about it. I have never seen them be mean about it. Yeah. There you go, Vor. This is the truth. Buff guys help out nerdy kid. Literally, yeah, 100%. Being a newcomer to a gym is basically like this, except IRL. You know, you'll be lining up for the shoulder press, and you'll get 3 guys who combined weigh 850 pounds with no fat, walk up, and they'll be like, "Hey there, King. Can we offer some advice?" Oh, sorry. Meme video. What is this? I gotta get my fucking auto pause back on.
Hey bro, you new here? Welcome brother, I'm glad you decided to join. If you need any help you can ask any of us. Don't be afraid, we gladly help you.
No music, copyright Reno. True though. Completely accurate, yeah. Vosh, your bit has always been being a muscular dude. I do. I want to get back to working out. It's basically impossible for me to, with my chest injury. Guys, you guys have no idea how annoying the costochondritis is, okay? I was with a hot date with a smoking chick earlier today, just this morning. Oh, God, you guys wouldn't even believe it. And at the end, you know, normally anytime I hug a woman, obviously you pick them up too, because they go for that shit. I couldn't even do it because squeezing her hard enough to be able to lift her up hurt my chest. So I just had to do a regular hug. What the fuck? It's like I'm a fucking virgin again. Oh my God. I didn't know you had a chest injury. It's the costochondritis. I'm trying to work on it. You go out in the morning? Yeah, I did today. Yeah. I woke up at 9:30. Are you guys proud of me? Was the date fun at least? Oh, so much fun. Absolutely. She's very nice. You default give really tight hugs? Yeah, I try to, you know. Jesus, the big evil. I'm glad. I do want to get back to working out, though. I feel like I'm still young enough that if I could just, like, sit down and do the work, I could fucking balloon up in muscle really quickly. In a couple years, that's not going to be the case. By the time I'm in my mid-30s, things will slow down to the point where, like, even minor gains will take a lot more work. But I think I still have that, like, young guy test level that I could work off of. You could get on test? I could, yeah. That's not really true. It tapers off, you know. It relies on a lot of stuff, but it's called creatine. I mean, I could just take roids. Good, Vermin. Hi, T-Vosh. I don't actually know what my testosterone levels are. You won't feel old till you're 50? That depends on how good a care you take care of your back. That's true. Temp, you're on steroids. You hit me with that. You're already on test. Start taking the Joe Rogan cocktail. Oh, speaking of Vermin, whatever happened to those cum pills? Where are they? Did you leave those in Australia? I'll wait. I guess while I wait, I'll... Riley, you left them there? Okay. Those are expensive. Hey, hey, hey. I asked you for permission to take, not to leave. Oh, no, you did. You did ask me for... No, never mind, Vermin. You did. You did. Also show off your shirt, Con. Oh, nice shirt, yeah. There you go. From Le Morta, right? Le Morta? Le Morta? Does this one have holes? It's the first time I've worn it, so I hope not. Vosh, you could be a model. I already am a model. Look at all the video and photo out there with my face on it. Can we please do a pit segment on how awesome a left-wing dating advice do would be? Well, I've already done left-wing dating advice. Like, quite a lot. I talk about it pretty often. I think, I don't want to, like, I don't want to break my own arm jerking myself off here, but I genuinely think that I give the best, or at least the most high quality, like, general socializing advice on the left from, like, a guy's perspective specifically. Which is funny because IRL, I'm a massive autist and I generally avoid social situations, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with, about having like the confidence to try, and that I can do, you know, that's, you know, oftentimes I just don't want to do something, but if I am in a social situation, I talk as much as I want. You and Hassan, I don't know how much Hassan does it, so I can't compare. Maybe he does it more. Give us flirting 101. I've done that before too. Though it's important to keep talking about those things. Do you know about Hassan's Chad Vice panels? I've heard of them. I don't know how often they happen or even what they really are. What are your thoughts on platonic dates? Isn't a platonic date just hanging out with a friend? That's nice. That's good, right? Hassan's dating advice is to be 6'4" and hot. That does help, you know.
All right, doing the God. I'll work out when I can. A lot of positive masculinity is comprised of very gender-neutral aspects. Look, honest to God, I really think the main problem that guys have is just the fact that women have way more social capital in interpersonal situations. Uh, People are more likely to find guys independent of behavior. If a woman and a man are both acting identically, people are more likely to be threatened by the guy, more likely to think that the guy is being weird or creepy. They are more likely to be indirect with expressions of interest in the guy. They're less interested in talking to the guy. There's so much stuff that stacks in favor of women, and a lot of that comes down to like women being considered more desirable and less threatening. You know, which isn't great. You know, even like trans women say this a lot, right? Like Contra said it. I believe Abigail Thorne has said it, where it's like having dated as a guy and as a girl, you know, in a lot of ways, it's way easier as a girl, you know. But if you're a guy, you know, I think a lot of it is learning how to navigate that. Or it's like the question, how do you be confident or masculine or direct or straightforward while also not being creepy or presumptuous? Or honest to God, look, they don't like to talk about it, you know, because it sounds weird. Here's a big one. How do you be a flirt as a guy? Because if you talk about this in left-leaning spaces, what are you going to hear from other people as a guy? You know, don't do anything. That's what you're going to hear, right? Like, to the left, if you're a guy, sex or sexual interest should only be initiated by like a woman, or if you're straight, you know, directly expressing interest in you, and only that. Like, how do you proposition them, be flirty, whatever. The left, not only do the left not say anything on the subject, they will tell you to just not do it. Like, oh, it's creepy when guys are flirty, you know? Which, you know, hold on, fuck you. It's creepy when guys are creepy. If you want to get rid of people being flirty, then why don't you just fucking blow the planet up, okay? We're done then. We're done. You want to, guys being flirty? Okay, well then, let's just fucking start over. Let's nuke the world until a radioactive crust forms and we wait 100 million years for the next species to try. Are you fucking kidding me with this? Fucking, you know, you can't, but the people on the left they say this, don't they? Don't they? You've seen it, haven't you? Have you ever seen people on the left, either individually or collectively, indicate some kind of like permissiveness towards guys being flirty? Meanwhile, even if you're on the left, if you're a chick, you can say or do whatever. The left is just full of memes, of art, images, stories, anecdotes of women being direct or flirtatious, and it's fine. You know, because it's fine when they do it, because there's less of an implicit threat in them being interested and whatever. Honestly, I think if you could just Vosh, I'm a trans girl. I don't know how to flirt with men properly, though. Look, we'll get to you and your goddamn problems later, okay? Flirting with guys is not that difficult. Not as difficult as flirting with women. And by the way, bisexual women will agree with me on this. Seriously, talk to a bi woman. Who's easier to talk to, guys or girls? Who's easier to flirt with? Who flakes on you more on social media? Girls flake more. Men, easier to talk to. Men, easy to flirt with. Why? Well, because guys are more desperate and women get more attention. A lot goes into it. Anyway, you teach a guy how to be a flirt, and you can do that from like a leftist perspective that's not super cucked, and you've got him, boys. You've got him. If you can do that, because that's what every guy struggles with, you know? All this other bullshit, alienation, city walkability, online fascism, whatever. You get guys on a track where they can be progressive but still be cute flirts with cute girls. You've got them. Because that's what people want. People will take the paths that seem the nicest for them, and the path that is lined with social affirmation and the attention of people they're interested in, that's the path. They got if you get that for them, they're fine. They're going to be fine. We're going to be fine because they're moving to the left now. I think it's disgusting that you would say the left's future hinges on the ability to get guys off. Oh, you fucking... Yeah? You want to talk about how left transbian spaces are literally the most disgusting, horny places on the fucking internet, and a huge portion of, like, pro-trans spaces are oriented around the sex drives of these fucking embarrassing-ass trans women with their goddamn cat ears. You want to talk about that? Don't fucking talk to me about compromising political movements, but for the libidos of their participants, okay? Shut the fuck up. Everyone wants to get laid. Everyone wants to be the horny and be a coomer or whatever, except for like some ace people, and that's fine. They're fine too. Even they jerk off, you know, whatever. Sometimes. Once you have that, you've got them. Vosh, I've been to some parties where women did some out-of-boundaries flirts. Women are capable of harassing it. Dude, women harass all the time. You want to know how for a fact? Talk to male strippers. Female strippers get harassed. Yeah, they do. And sometimes they get serious threats. But you talk to a male stripper, going to like a bachelorette party or some shit, they don't just get harassed sometimes. It is their fucking job to be harassed. I've known... Have you? I'm not a male stripper. I've known male strippers, yeah. Multiple. And yeah, they get harassed all the time. Because these women, they don't think they can be the harassers. They'll just reach up and touch their junk or their ass. They'll say anything, whatever. No fucking... They'll flash the strippers. They'll just think, oh yeah, I can pop my tit or whatever. Well, if you were at if there was a female stripper, could you pull your dick out and show it to her? No, you fucking couldn't, actually. You could not do that. She will leave. But the male strippers don't leave when they're harassed. Because if male strippers leave when they were harassed sexually, they would never get any jobs. Literally, that's why. Male strippers are harassed so often, it is a ubiquitous gig by gig thing that they would simply not have jobs if they didn't let themselves get harassed by like bachelorettes or whatever. The gay men are far more respectful than the women are, because men are taught to keep their hands to themselves, and women, let's be real, kind of aren't, because women aren't perceived as sexually or socially threatening, so their, you know, affection or whatever is treated with less seriousness. Merrick talked about how women would harass and grope her while working, and they would get confused as to why she would push back. A lot of women literally don't even like, they don't even like comprehend the idea that they are capable. Oh, Kegra, yeah, gay bars too. There are so many gay men who I have known who've gone to gay bars, and straight women will go there to pick up guys or to stare at them and will just like slap their asses or grope them or whatever, because they have like no concept whatsoever. Zero fucking concept of like the idea that they can even violate people's consent. You to the like equal rights, equal lefts bullshit. If that equal rights, equal lefts bullshit actually played out and the male-female sexual harassment got treated the same every time, you know what happened? Every single fucking time you went to a gay bar, you would see at least 3 straight women decked in the face. Literally every fucking time. Every time you went there, you'd just be counting it down like, oh, it's 6:30 p.m. and I haven't even seen a straight woman get her fucking face rearranged by some guy that she grabbed the dick of. But equal rights are not equal lefts, actually. Hey, yo, what's up, Chris Raygun? Just popped in, but most men I know have stories about women sexually harassing them. They don't even realize it until they vocalize it to another guy wild. Yeah, literally. It's fucking ubiquitous. Like, even beyond like specific or professional settings, it just happens all the time. And again, you know, gonna be honest with you guys, the left doesn't like to talk about this. All the people who were in that thread earlier, the baby Sid guy, responding to that, you know, how do you think they would talk? Like, hey, you know, I think there might be a problem with women sexually assaulting people and getting away with it because they're women. Oh, well, guys will talk about anything but misogyny in the movement. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Please. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. God. As a flirt, a lot of it is just pretty privilege. The left pretends we're not affected by it. Yeah, a huge part of it is being attractive, obviously. But, like, a lot of it is also just a set of very strange double standards. My personal recommendation to you guys: does a girl grabbing my ass at a party as a joke count as sexual harassment, or is the term too strong? That's not sexual harassment. That's sexual assault. No, it doesn't count as sexual harassment. You got to go a ring up. Listen, ask in your head this: if there was some chick at a party and as a joke I grabbed her ass, would that be sexual? Yes, or sexual assault. I mean, if you two were like close friends and it was a bit like maybe there's mitigating factors if you two know each other to some degree, but assuming the framing here is that you don't know each other. To be fair, we were like 14, but still. Okay, the fact that you were both 14 diminishes this significantly in terms of like the purported agency of the people involved. We're scaling it back. However, it's still not good of her. You know? It's still not good. Shouldn't do that. Not good. Should talk about that. Yeah, Horizon. It's like a 40-year-old plus woman untucked my shirt and grabbed my bare 35-year-old ass in the grocery store. Untucked my shirt and grabbed your... If somebody untucked my shirt and grabbed my ass at a grocery store, I would have broken her neck. How is she alive? That's not even like regular Jesus Christ. You got to teach people lessons, you know? That's just swing around and just eviscerate like in a circle around you like a fucking spin attack. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, a Mortal Kombat finisher. Vaporize her like Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. It really is fucked. Another lost lesson for lefties is teaching people lessons. Well, I mean, notice right now that what we're talking about right now is like basically advice for guys from a leftist perspective. Like that's what we're doing right now. It's not exclusively for guys. You know, it's broadly valuable, but it's still like that's what's being relayed here. How's it feel to be the only guy? It's weird. I remember when I was working in care, a young hot doctor came to visit. These two older nurses spent the whole time giggling and making weird passes at him while he was working. Okay, I'm going to be honest with... Okay, this might be a bit of a controversial take, okay? You know, I might get canceled for this one, kind of like unironically. But I'm going to go for it anyway. Because I'm not a bitch. Okay, so like... I'm gonna draw a chart, okay? Are you guys ready for it? There's the bottom line of the chart. Look at how straight that is. Did we do it pixel perfect again? We almost did. Except for this bit at the beginning. That was, god damn, I'm good at that. Okay. So like, I'm going to draw 2 bars in this bar graph, okay? And the first bar is how like generally horny guys are allowed to be like broadly in society, right? Now, this may seem controversial, but I really don't think it's by much. In the sense of like, in terms of like good decorum, in terms of socially permissible behavior, today in America, you know, not in all spaces, but at least in my experiences, you know, it is expected, like, obviously don't sexually harass or assault. You know, guys get called creepy. Let's be fair, oftentimes for behavior that's not really that creepy. There's like a big stigma against guys making passes at women. It can be considered misogynistic to make passes at women sometimes, depending on the context, which sometimes it can be if you do it in a misogynistic way, obviously, but I don't think it's inherently misogynistic. You know, obviously, like, there's, you know, there's very little, like, leeway in terms of what you can do before you're considered creepy. Again, I want to make it clear, like, there's still tons of things that guys do that is outside of this. There are guys who catcall, who harass, who rape. There are fucking Brett Weinstein types. But I'm talking about when I'm out there socializing, when I'm, as like a 30 or almost 30-year-old guy, when I'm like engaging with society, I feel like there's very little leeway and not a lot of charitability when it comes to stuff like this. And I think, did I say Brett again? Fuck, Harvey Weinstein, my bad. Yes, I mean Harvey Weinstein. A mistake often made, okay? And I think that, like, in terms of how generally horny people are allowed to be, I think women can get away with a lot more. Women can sexually assault and harass people way more freely. When they're flirts, it's almost never like held against them. There's a lot more leeway. This is one of the like, it's kind of like how, you know how if there's like a male college professor who's considered to be kind of a flirt with the female students, pretty much everyone considers that bad. But if there's a hot female professor who's kind of a flirt with the male students, a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, they're all adults, whatever. They can make their own decisions. Haha. Um, this is a very scientific graph. Thank you. There's a lot more leeway given to how horny women can be in some social situations. So I'm going to bring this home to the cancelable part, okay? I think that if women were held to the same standard as men on this issue, they would all kill themselves. I think that women are very comfortable occupying a social role where there's way more leeway given to them for like their behavior when it comes to flirtation. I think women like occupying a role where they can be more of a flirt or more frivolous or more direct or maybe a little bit more presumptuous, like at parties or whatever, where they're given way more benefit of the doubt when it comes to the seriousness of their behavior. I mean, here's one way to put it, okay? If you're at a bar and you're a guy who looks like me, and you put your hand on a woman's forearm in a light gesture like this, that's like a problem. If a woman does that to me or to any guy who looks like me, that's just like, oh, wow, a chick touched my arm. Like that. It's like, oh, she's interested in me. Yeah, you would come instantly, as Loopy the Chatter puts it right here. Like the degree of like perceived threat is so astronomically different in these two situations. You know what I mean? Guy touching your arm equals getting kidnapped. Exactly. I think that women really enjoy this very like narrow avenue of female privilege, like this very narrow window where they get a little bit more room than guys do, because guys get way more room in like 99% of situations, like clothing or makeup. Like guys can dress however and not wear any makeup, and as long as they don't look like absolute dog shit, they're ready for the world, whereas like with women, that's just totally not the case. Like there's so much more there. The point that I'm trying to get at the end of all of this is that whenever we like settle things out, like if we in a future world where maybe we can like even out this gap, make things a little bit better, make things a little bit more fair, I don't think women are just going to come down. I think men are going to come up, and I think we're meeting in the middle here somewhere. Because I think that a lot of the double standard that we see for men and women's behavior is influenced by the fact that, let's be real, men pose way more threat to women than vice versa in interpersonal situations, right? Like male strippers might get sexually assaulted by female clients than vice versa. Like male strippers might get sexually harassed or assaulted more, but female strippers get killed more by a lot, by a large margin. Does that make sense? There's different like degrees of like potential threat here. And likewise, like if I put my hand on like a woman's forearm, I can understand why she might be nervous, because if I grabbed her forearm, I could like do whatever because I'm way bigger than her on average. Whereas if she put her hand on my forearm, it doesn't represent anything besides like she's getting my attention. She would have to have like a weapon or be exceptionally strong or adept for a chick. There's like a different presumed threat level here, right? I think it depends on the situation. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm painting with a very broad brush here. But what I'm trying to say is that I think that if we want to make things better, I don't think we should go the prudish route where the more progressive of a society we become, the less acceptable it is to ever flirt with people. Because that seems dumb. That's really dumb. That's dumb. That's not the right... That can't be the right way to do things. I don't know if there's like an ideal middle point or whatever. I just think that like, as it stands right now, and I swear, like I've seen trans people talk about this because they've gone on both sides, right? They've dated as a girl or as a guy, where like trans guys or sometimes trans chicks talking in retrospect are like, damn dog, this sucks, This kind of fucking sucks. The main time you'll see guys engage in the kind of flippant flirtation
is when you see gay men talking to each other, because then there's no longer like the power imbalance and the perceived threat difference between men and women. And guys are way flirtier with other guys often than they are women. Like, it just seems weird to me. It seems weird to me that like lesbian women will flirt up lesbian. Okay, first of all, flirting as a lesbian woman is the two of you 69ing for 8 hours and then thinking that the other one thinks of you as a friend. Women are very stupid. But once they get to the flirting, lesbian women are very direct with each other. You know, I think you know, you can get away with a lot. Gay men extremely direct with each other, right? Great. So we've established now that men and women both kind of like being horny a little bit. But then when you get men and women together, all of a sudden you have all these issues that are caused by an imbalance, right? Like, who here agrees? Like, bi people. I know. I've been with both. This explains why most gay men I know are almost frighteningly happy. True, Chris Reagan. You got to come over. Conclusion, be gay. No, we can fix this problem. We know women are horny, and we know men are horny. This is a solvable problem. We can math this out, okay? We can work this. This is almost literally a square peg, square hole situation. You get it? This is a solvable problem. I don't even know why we're talking about this. The only reason this came up to me is because, like, all of this, like, most online lefties would rather kill themselves than talk about any of this. Like, the average online lefty would hear this conversation and then go, how hard is it to tell people to not rape? And then walk off. I just think it's important to, like, talk about this. So what advice would you give to guys to navigate this dynamic as it exists today? My personal solution has always been be like autistically upfront with what you're interested in, while balancing that with an understanding of whether they want to keep talking to you. If you can get those two things down, you have communication down pat, okay? If you are interested in them, if you like them, if you want to spend time with them, be upfront. The worst they can say is, well, no, the worst they can do is make fun of you. But if they were going to do that, then you might as well get this out of the way anyway. It's good to be direct. It cuts out the ambiguity. And also, do a good job of understanding whether somebody else wants to be talking to you. Because that way, you don't run into the issue of you feeling bad because you worry that they want to bail on the conversation, but aren't because of pity or whatever. And I've said this before, one of the best things you can do to make sure other people actually want to be a part of the conversation is make it clear that you're not crazy invested. Like, if they walked away, that'd be fine. Like, if you're at a party, you can, like, talk with them for a minute, and then you can be like, oh, yeah, I was going to go to drink, by the way. Did you want anything? Or, and if she's like, oh, no, then you can be like, oh, okay, well, all right, see you. And then you can just go get something. That's fine. Like, you know, kind of read the room a little bit. Or you can talk for a bit, then ask them a question. And if they respond enthusiastically or like they're interested, then you can you can kind of work with that. Or, hey, this is one of the easiest things to nail in terms of like making sure the other person's interested in talking to you. Ask them a question. If they give a very short answer when you know they could give you a longer one, they don't want to talk to you. And then all you have to do is go like, oh, gotcha, thank you. Anyway, I'm in ahead, or something like that. And you can just go do something else. If they give you a longer answer than you feel they need to, like if you ask somebody about where they work and they give you like a 30-second spiel on what they do, they didn't have to talk for that long. They probably are enjoying the conversation with you. Just give people hooks and opportunities to indicate to you that they're not interested, because you don't want to like talk at somebody for 10 minutes and in your head I know what you fuckers are doing. In your head you're like terrified that they're bored or disinterested and only listening out of pity, and you're just like rambling because you're trying to hook their attention, but you don't know if you have it, so you keep trying to hook it. So you're like, oh yeah, and you're like da. And what you're really doing is just like infinitely prolonging this one chain of dialogue that with no understanding of whether or not they actually like care. So you don't want to do that. You give them the opportunity to demonstrate whether or not they're into you by their interest and their responses. And if they're not, that's fine. You can move on. And if somebody was bored talking to you for a couple minutes, that's fine. if somebody is not that into you, that's not a crime and that's not a failing on your part. That is literally a completely unavoidable part of human interactions. If somebody seems like they don't want to talk to you, it's not a fucking personal insult. You're not being attacked. It doesn't make you uniquely weird. Literally everyone has that happen to them. It's fine. And you're fine. And be direct. Vosh, serious question. I asked my ex for a kiss once. Midway through the kiss, she laid me on the ground and put my hand on her ass. I didn't know how to respond, but I didn't really want it. Took me a few minutes to stop the interaction. What would I call that? Okay. Oh boy. Can of worms. So this is one of those like implicit consent situations that's very, 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 very difficult to talk about because it's so contextual. Okay. So I want to be clear. If you want to do something new with somebody, I think it's always most preferable to have the most explicit possible indication that they're into it. However, like, have I been making out with a chick and then put my hand on her ass without explicitly asking her for permission? Obviously. Like, yeah, of course. And as far as I know, I've never missed with that either. I think there are a lot of like nonverbal cues that you can work off of. I don't think it's necessarily assault to do that. Like, it's not like they put their hand on your ass like out of nowhere, like randomly to a stranger at a party. So much of it would really, oh, sorry, put your hand in their ass. It's the same functionally in terms of whether or not it would be assault contextually. Without knowing more of the context, really difficult to say conclusively. But it's it's definitely something to be careful over. I think it's okay to be having an interaction like that and to be uncomfortable and to want to back things off and for that to not be like bad, right? Like we have to understand that there are different expectations here. If you're at a party and you just reach up and grab somebody's tit, that's sexual assault, clearly. But if you're making out with somebody and you've been like hardcore making out, I mean it's steamy in there, you know? And you're like running your hands up and down her sides and it's like, whoo, got the fucking big ass hips, you know? And then you like pull one hand in and you have a hand on her tit and they're like, "Oh, no," and they push your hand away. That's not, in my opinion, at least, cancel me if I'm wrong. I think that's like a very normal, oh, do you want to go further? Oh, no, that's okay thing. I don't think that's like sexual assault. Maybe some people would disagree with that, but I feel like that's a pretty well within like the interplay of contextually acceptable, like, you know, are you okay with this or whatever? And it's fine to not be okay. That's fine. That's a choice, you know? You are canceled? Yeah, true. Yeah, it's sexual assault after when you keep it. Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, if she pushed your hand away and then you were like, no, you know, then yes, of course. But yeah. I would hope. I don't think that experience is really like representative of sexual assault experience. Vosh, how do I stay funny when I'm talking to somebody I'm attracted to? I can be very funny and jokey with my friends, but when I'm with someone I'm into, I get so scared I'll make a joke that won't land. So I put up 1,000 filters, then I'm boring. How fix? My dude, you just got to not do that. I'm sorry, that's super unhelpful, but the like panic, the like panic personality obfuscation, you just have to not do that. I'm sorry. You have to stop doing that. You have to work on seeing the people that you're into as regular friends, okay? If there's somebody you're into and you want to do a better, like, get better at, like, just interacting with them as a friend, maybe it would help to be a little bit tipsy. That can help if anxiety is the issue. Or do something with them that you consider, like, a friend activity. I don't know if you're, like, bringing them back to your place or whatever, but, like, playing games or something? Or like, playing online games? Like, that can be fun, right? Because I think if there's somebody that you like in a romantic way, like playing online games is like a pretty easy way to get into the we're friends hanging out kind of mindset. Yes, being tipsy helps. Well, yeah, with anxiety for sure. Also, depending on how well you know each other, you can just say, I'm nervous around you because I think you're cute. I mean, maybe that's down the line, but I think you can go for that. What if I'm a closeted trans girl who has to constantly boy mode to get through life? That's a totally other... I'm really sorry, okay? I have experience flirting with chicks. I actually don't have experience as a trans girl boy moding. Despite what... This I'm not boy moding, okay? I'm man moding. I have no personal experience with that. That's a whole set of subjects I just don't have any personal experience with. I'm sorry. Though I think I've talked about it a little bit. My situation is I live with rents and I'm a 30-year-old NEET. I don't really have social options beyond my small group and a little money. What do? I want to meet girls. I'm bi and I've only been with men. Don't think of what you're doing as meeting girls. If you're a NEET, fix being a NEET. Social and sexual opportunities are an emergent property of a healthy social life. Go out there and try to find new groups of people to spend time with. Find like community events, go to local game shops. There's got to be stuff in your area. Unless, I mean, if you live with rents, you probably don't live out in the sticks. You must live in somewhere like that has like stuff going on. There's lots of free stuff you can do. The less of a NEET you are, the more likely it is you'll be able to easily find these, new opportunities. You have a lot of advice about dating, initiating sex. Do you have any relationship advice? Nope. I'm not a good partner. I'm not a good boyfriend. Maybe one day I'll be. You don't want to take my advice on that. Yeah, like communicate, be nice and everything, but whew. You're too much of a workaholic. No, my main issue is that very frequently I'll wake up and I will look at like unread messages or calls or anything, and I'll think, why the fuck do I care about anyone or anything? And then I'll spend like 3 days just playing video games or doing whatever I want. I am very bad at commitment, and that includes like committal or engaged social interactions, which means that I can't really be counted on for... Yeah, Tempest knows. You're real for that? Yeah. At least you can be honest about it. Well, I also have a big dick and I'm rich, so it all balances out. What, have you ever cheated or something? Lol. Every time. No. You shouldn't cheat, guys. I feel like not cheating is a pretty easy sell. Honest to God, maybe this is like a communication bit for me, but I feel like I know communication is difficult anyway. Like obviously it's easy to say communicate and not easy to actually do it all the time. But cheating is where the real stories come out of people with like comically bad communication skills. Look, I'm not one of those people who thinks that somebody who cheats is like an existentially monstrous piece of shit. People do fucked up stuff all the time in a lot of ways. People do make mistakes. I fundamentally believe that everyone can, sort of improve their character. So like it's a bad thing to do. It's just like, I don't think it like morally dooms a person, I guess. But oftentimes when I see stories of other people cheating, the cheating is actually like the least bad part of it, IMO. Usually it's like everything that led up to the cheating makes it a billion times worse. Does that make any sense? Like when I've heard stories from other people or like the like friends or like online stories, it's like the cheating is the cap on like this giant shit cake of horrible communication, lying, deception, abuse, gaslight, and then it's like, okay, well then there was cheating. And it's like, okay. Like here's the example that I would use, right? Like with Xander Hall's former girlfriend, Lonnie, who probably cheated on him, but that's not really the crescendo there, right? Like what about all the like money stealing and the rent and but it's but people focus on the cheating a lot, I guess, because it's kind of like a lightning rod for very strong emotional reactions. Yeah. I think another thing that's important to note is that if one is not happy while single, they're not likely to be happy if they find a relationship. Yeah, that's totally true. Relationships relationships can make you happy, but they can't fix the things making you unhappy, if that makes sense. Like a relationship can add a lot to your well-being or whatever, but it can't code up any like existing issues. It doesn't work that way. And never will. Vosh, I have a girlfriend and we're looking for a third, but the moment I start flirting and say I have a girlfriend, women just stop listening. They think I'm trying to cheat or something. Jax, first of all, if you're looking for a third, your girlfriend leads, not you. Women looking for a third are 1 billion times more likely to get that third than you are. Way more likely. That's one. For two, you need to talk to like polyamorous chicks. Are you advertising yourselves as poly? Like, are you on Tinder? If you're on Tinder and like, yeah, we're poly looking for. I feel like that's not that uncommon on Seattle Tinder. So I don't know. Exactly, Tempest. Vosh is an extra challenge. What if I cannot stop being a NEET? What happens then? You die, I guess. You can stop being a NEET. If you can't stop being a NEET, then you can't do anything. But you can do at least some things. You're typing in my chat right now, so you can stop being a NEET. NEET, no education, no education, employment, or training. It means you never leave the house. Poly relationships don't usually end well. Well, they're asking for a third. If by third you just mean like a one-time threesome, then have the chick go for it. Said this before, I think it's helpful. Some of your advice would get laughed at in normie circles. It's not like normie circles are getting crazy pussy right now anyway. The pussy rates are down all around the goddamn country. Normies could stand to benefit from plenty of advice on consent or confidence or communication or whatever else. A lot of guys have these issues. But I think that the stuff that I'm saying right now applies to guys no matter what, not just like lefty guys or whatever. Am I a NEET if I'm a self-employed freelancer? No. How do you get out of NEETdom? Covering a lot of topics today, are we? It's complicated. It really depends on why you're inside to begin with. Do you think that self-play is a valid replacement for casual sex partners? By self-play, do you mean masturbation? Because self-play is the worst euphemism I have ever seen for that term, if that's the case. Do you think masturbation is a valid replacement for casual sexual partners? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. You're allowed to. God be with you. But let's be real, it doesn't feel as good as pussy. Like, come on, right? Like, come on. We know. Some of us have been inside people. It feels good. It's easier, though? Well, yeah, sure, okay. Only like 3% of this chat has touched another person. Oh, I know, Iwan. I responded to it. Pocket pussy? I've never fucked a pocket pussy. I'm sorry. That's called depression, Kyrif Ninja 88, and I strongly suggest you get on antidepressants or whatever a psychiatrist would recommend you. Also drink water. Bad, dry pussy feels worse for sure, though. I wouldn't know. I've literally never been around, touched, or even looked at a dry pussy. This is a you problem, not a me problem. How do we get down this road? What are we even talking about? What day is it? What year is it? What are we doing? It's 8? 23? What? What is happening? What is the most wild/fun sex you've had, Vosh? Move away from awkward stories. Most wild. All right, you got your dick out or whatever. You ready for it? No. Nice fucking try. Sorry, I'm not rhetorically painting my awesome fucking sex experiences for you guys. Plus, you probably wouldn't even be into half the kinks I'm into. So once they trot the stable out, you guys would be like, okay, but I'm only a third of the way in. And I'd tell the whole story, to commit it.
Blue balled again. This chat is so down bad. Is it Saturday? Is it Friday? It's Friday. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. Guys, I see you. I see you and I hear you. But we're moving on. Many details around the Andrew Tate arrest are hazy, but we do know the initial investigation in April was initiated by the U.S. Embassy in Rome. U.S. wields massive political leverage over Romania, having drastically built up U.S. military force. Okay, so the Michael Tracy theory is that Tate was arrested. Oh, sorry, Romania. Tate was arrested because the U.S. government pressured Romania into arresting him because his YouTube videos were too sexist. Is that what it is? Yeah, it always goes back to Ukraine. CBS gets an exclusive sneak peek. The U.S. Army's 101 airborne practicing for war with Russia just miles from Ukraine's border.
At a forward operating site, we watched as U.S. soldiers and Romanian troops pounded targets in a joint ground and air assault. The tank rounds and artillery fire are real. So is the enemy, meant to recreate the fight against Russian forces in Ukraine.
Wait, so is the are they shooting at POWs over there? What?
A message to Russia and NATO allies alike, we're here.
The real meaning for me to have the American troops here is like if you were to have allies in Normandy before any enemy was there.
In all, roughly 4,700 soldiers of the 101st Screaming Eagles from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, have been deployed to reinforce NATO's eastern flank.
You've had an opportunity to watch, observe, and possibly study the Russians. What do you think of them so far?
So we're closely watching them. So we're building objectives to practice against that replicate exactly what's going on in Ukraine. We're the closest American unit to the fighting in Ukraine.
And what does that feel like? What does that mean?
It keeps us on our toes, right? So it makes my
Ready to fight tonight is a message that we've heard repeatedly. It's not just about defending NATO territory, but if the fight escalates and NATO partners are under threat, they're fully prepared to cross over into Ukrainian territory if ordered to do so. Back to you in the studio.
I can't believe the U.S. military would ever do military drills and prepare for the eventuality of their allies being attacked. That's so crazy, dude. I can't, dude, doing military drills in case the world goes to war? That's fucking wild, bro. I like how this guy says they might cross into Ukraine if NATO countries are attacked. Which, yeah, like, obviously, if NATO countries are attacked by Russia, we're going into Russia. But Michael Tracy skips one of the sentences and just says it's not about defending NATO territory. They're fully prepared to cross over. Skipping the point where he said, if NATO countries are attacked, they're fully prepared to cross over. Interesting how he would skip that one sentence in a way that makes it sound as though the soldiers there are willing to engage in aggressive war. So what a wacky coincidence that he would leave out the one sentence that would indicate that they'd be responding to Russian aggression. Oh boy. I'm often saying this. What does that have to do with Tate's arrest? Well, somehow this is evidence that the U.S. government arrested him.
At a forward
Pig news. I like the YOLO swag studio theory on Embedder. Ah, yes. Phenomenal. I love dongless Greta Thunberg. Yet another banger. Fucking butt money. I don't understand the Zubulo reference. Where's that one drawing of Andrew Tate? The one that's done in like 2 seconds on pencil, but still somehow manages to perfectly caricature him. Where's that damn drawing, man? I wish Twitter's search function wasn't so dog shit. Have you ever drawn a thumb? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Easy to draw. It's right on the money. Literally Tate. Like, no other human looks like this. It is a dead ringer. Pleader 94 asks, Vosh, it feels a weird question, but I'm 28 and a virgin. Does that make me an incel? Well, if you want to get laid but haven't been, I guess technically that would make you involuntarily celibate. But I think normally when people say incel, they're referring to a kind of like, yeah, like a mindset or a community, not really like literally. Because, oh, like what time scale are you talking about too? Because I'm an incel as of the past 7 hours, you know? Pigeon? You think I want to stream? I want to be getting laid right now. Pigeon? I'm just kidding. I didn't get laid earlier today's date. Yeah? Pigeon. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Scream. 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 Did you hear that? Ooh. Yeah. No escape. Wiggly little baby. I think Mike just backed off his own theory. What? What a weird time to suddenly start caring about whether or not you're peddling misinformation. Andrew Tate is being prosecuted for human trafficking by Romania's Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism, whose human trafficking enforcement the U.S. funds. The investigation was initiated by the U.S. Embassy. I apologize for the conspiracy theory. What? What? Here's a conspiracy theory, but oh, he's not apologizing for misinformation. He's doubling down on it. Here's a conspiracy theory based exclusively on public U.S. government records. In 2020, the State Department criticized Romania for failing to address human trafficking and placed it on a watch list. In doing so, the U.S. hoped to stimulate action and create partnerships. A few months later, one such partnership was launched, and the U.S. single-handedly funded a new multifaceted Romanian state initiative to strengthen its law enforcement related to human trafficking. The program encompassed directorates on organized crime as well as terrorism. By early 2021, the State Department expressed satisfaction that Romania had adopted a sweeping national action plan to address each and every recommendation the U.S. had made in its critical 2020 report. Then by July 2022, Romania was pleased to announce the U.S. had upgraded its ranking and taken it off the watch list. Each and every recommendation the U.S. made was approved for the new national plan, including increase the number of human trafficking convictions. So the conspiracy theory is literally the U.S. encouraged Romania to do better about prosecuting human trafficking, and then later the guy who bragged about human trafficking got arrested for human trafficking. Okay. Yeah, the U.S. Embassy was involved because, yeah, one of the people implicated in the trafficking was a U.S. citizen. And one of the girls in the investigation was an American. And of course, we're way more on our shit than Romania is when it comes to pretty much any kind of criminal stuff because Romania is gay. Oh, wait. Fucking Barbara Walters died? Whoa, why'd nobody tell me? We mentioned it a few times. Oh, okay, I must have missed it. Who? Who? Fucking Zoomers. Hold on, let me pee real quick. God, I'm so good at that. Hello, everyone. Huh. You know, guys, with that, I feel like we did all the politics that we're going to do for the year of our Lord 2022. I think that's it. Because I was either going to play Halo 3 tomorrow or the day after, probably tomorrow. I don't know what my New Year's Eve plans are. I don't actually know. I don't think I have any plans. Mine's getting pissed drunk. But here's the issue, man. I can't really get drunk and play Halo 3 on Heroic, can I? Because I'll kind of get trashed, right? Halo 3 is easy. People have said Halo 3 is easier than Halo 1 and 2. Skill issue? Play normal and get drunk? Halo 3 is unironically easier? Well, no, I've heard that. Gotcha, Tempest. Guess I'll have to think it out. I'd either do the stream tomorrow or the day after. We'll see. We'll see. I'll have to decide. Let me read through these donations. We have to finish up our game backlog. Don't play Halo, please. Oh, sorry. Duel and the God doesn't want me to play Halo. Sake with the 2 gifted tier 1 subs. How many additional followers does Mark Kaczynski gain since his debut on OK Buddy Vosh? I don't actually know. I'm leaving him to his devices, hoping he gets the positive attention. Ninja Taco, Goose Juice, and Polito 94. Thank you for the $5 all. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Goose Juice. Very true, Ninja Taco. The Willinator, thank you for the $10. I fell and broke a rib, and I'm not getting workers' comp. Oh. I had to change out of my non-slip because the floor got flooded. My feet were wet. I put in another pair. I fell. I break. How you been? Better than you, the Willinator. I'm very sorry to hear that, and that sucks. You should be getting workers' comp. Wonder if there's any way to fix that. I've already played it. Inoji. Take care, Holic Master. Liam O'Dowd, thank you for the $5. Happy New Year to you as well. Brewmastercraft, the $10. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it is frustrating how few lefties will talk about how much women can do to perpetuate, like, toxic masculinity. And with the additional $20, it's assumed every straight guy is a jock within left or in liberal spaces. It's frustrating. It annoys the struggles of autistic men like myself who struggle with gender norms. It's exhausting. Yeah, the online left, and I guess the left broadly, is just done a pretty bad job tackling this. We're going to make it better together, okay? Dubmander and Orson Zed, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. I really appreciate those. Somniostatic, thank you for the tier 4 sub. That's very, very kind of you. 5 seconds after you called him gay, the police got him. Please call Ben Shapiro gay. I'll have to see that react he did to that one femboy on TikTok to really get a feel for it. Valiant Shadow, thank you for the $5. Guess it's time to give up on all my tiny YouTube channels. Okay, no, Valiant Shadow, in case you're still here, we corrected that. It wasn't in the first year. It was just an A year, okay? We did correct that. You can still keep hope. Brenton Biggs, thank you for the $10. Crested geckos are the best. They are beautiful. Freakster, thank you for the $10 and welcome back. Orson Zed, thank you for the $5. I do not like Necco wafers, I'm afraid. And happy late Christmas to you as well. Tate, thanks for the tier 1 sub. J Dubs with the $10. This is Vosh going all in on guilty. SB, thank you for the $5. OnlyFans one of these days. Surf Bort with the $5. Longtime viewer, first time donator. I credit you with breaking me out of the alt-right pipeline. I hope your 2023 is the best yet. Yeah. Here's to hoping, right? Gotta believe. Gotta get ourselves some quality podcast appearances. Huggin' Raven, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. I'll keep it in mind. Jacob, thank you again for the $100. That's very kind of you. SB, thank you for the $5 and $10, respectively. Hyperfeminism will likely lead to the social collapse of the USA. I do not think that's going to happen. There's no point in even talking about this. It's too late. Young men will be pushed into very dark circles, just like the MAGA crowd. It might even be worse. I promise you, while I do think that we have some issues right now, I don't think they're quite at that point. I just think we need to work a little bit more on accessibility in the left to just like regular guys, basically. Mr. Mava, thank you for the $5. Very true. John Smith, thank you for the $10. What you do to get the Tate crowd to turn if not getting the girls is an issue, because as a socialist, if someone needs food, housing, etc., so give me them that. I don't know how to do that with sex. You just need to make the social spaces that are associated with the left accepting and appealing in ways that men will resonate with. It's not about directly doing anything for them. Sleeping Cow, thank you for the $5. Pirun on YouTube for Ukraine analysis. I'll try to keep it in mind. Zigabiz, the $5. I'm 31 with 3 kids. My wife left me for a woman. Fair. I work 6 days a week and spend all my free time with my kids. Am I just fuck dating? Never had issues before. Well, I'm not going to lie. You're definitely in a sort of tricky spot in terms of your time availability. I've never been a dad, so I don't really have much to offer there in way of advice. That being said, I don't think you're fucked at all. I know that, like, in the long run, I don't know if this is exclusively an older thing, or if it, like, the odds go up with time, but I feel like the odds of being able to repair families like that, or find like a stepmom or whatever,
for the kids. I feel like that goes up the older you get, right? Like that's more like I've never had kids. I feel like I don't have any experience with this, but I've heard so many stories of like people finding other people later in life. But it's not only a later in life thing. I think when I think later in life, I just think like after you've already gotten a family. Because to me, that is later in life. I don't know. Nothing's hopeless. No. Doll Gray with the $5. Group a segment into a playlist going all the way back to your first talks to incels. You mean like every like dating advice or guy advice segment? Maybe. It is a pretty distinct category. The Willinator, thank you for the $5. One of my regulars is a lawyer and wants to sue, so I'm doing as good as can be right now, plus this morphine be hitting like a motherfucker. Okay, well, good luck with that. Hopefully you're able to get what's yours. Jesus. Charlotte96, the $5. Do you think Friends with Benefits even works, Vosh? All the time. BogeyFan101, thank you for the 5. I try my best to keep other people's attention. However, I feel like when I try to reach out to others, whether for coffee or a meal, I'm being creepy. Don't worry about that so much. If you're being creepy and you give other people the opportunity to indicate to you how they feel, you'll know. But if you worry so much about being creepy that it's keeping you from even interacting with people, that's probably something you have to loosen up on, right? FNL47, thanks the tier 1 sub. And congratulations on being able to deadlift 400 pounds. Exorpheus, thank you for the 10 Australian. Travis with the $5. Whether or not somebody returns a shopping cart after using it is the perfect test of something ethics. True! Though I do think it's permissible to like leave the shopping cart in a corner if you're in one of those underground shopping or like parking lots that has literally no place to leave the cart. You know? Like, if they leave no place at all, that's kind of their fucking fault. And I have seen that happen. True Homie with the $5. As someone who took your advice of treating everyone the same and just being yourself and developing interests, it has helped me get dates and more. Nice. Nice, True Homie. I'm really happy to hear that. That's really, really awesome. The best possible outcome from my advice, really. Sake with the 2 gifted tier 1 subs. A woman looked at me, licked her lips, deep-throated a banana, then when I said hi, blew a whistle at me and ran. They're always doing that. Empress, thank you for the $5. Have a nice new year. I'll be stuck at work stocking shelves, so all your hungover asses can get stuff in the morning. Have 5 Walmart bucks. God, we need a union. You guys really do. Good luck with that. The Walmart bros won't be happy to see one form. Thank you for your service. Let's wrap up these links, huh? Soveball, thank you for the $5. Kadia stands. Beautiful. I really like that backpack. Big gun. Baby. I bet the dog could defeat these two. Well done. Charlotte with the $5. Aiden Ross can't even say the word catastrophe without actually bumbling his way through it.
Crazy, catastrophical. Look, I just woke up to some crazy, catastrophical news about Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. They just got.
Does he have like an actual intellectual disability? I'm actually asking. Because I saw that bit of him finding the definition of fascism on Google, and he mispronounced basically every single word he could have. I think he's doing it on purpose. I guess he might be. I don't know. Paid in 10 minutes. God damn. Looking great. Yeah. Really good. Nihilistic Neon Wolf with $5. Do you think this is a reach or something a little sus? What do you mean? Matt blocking Andrew Tate on Instagram? Oh, you mean Andrew Tate saying hello, brother? Like if he's gay? No, I don't think that he would be hitting up Matt for a boy pussy. Or boy dick. Bick, as it's known. Johnny Be Good, thanks to the gift of 2 1 sub. This channel's so wholesome. This dude's just cooking an onion. He's so happy about it.
Out here. She says that you could eat it just just with salt. And that's the only thing.
All right. A little off topic, but I'm happy that he's happy about the roasted onion with salt. I tried this recipe, it sucked ass. Oh, we have a detractor from chat. Charlotte with $5. A nest of purring kittens, 2 minutes. I don't know if we're in a video mood right now. Ooh. It's so... Cat purrs only sound like purrs from a distance. They sound like motorcycles up close. Yeah? Happy little ball. Sake with the 4 gifted tier 2 subs. I really appreciate that. This is what I feel like every time a tanky tries to tell Vosh how left is supposed to sound. Oh, we saw this.
You ought to see me with a 357 Magnum.
But I don't want to rewatch it. I think we saw this, though. I don't remember what segment we watched it. But yeah, fucking...
Awesome.
Christopher
when
Lee.
Wormtongue rises up and comes up behind Saruman to stab him, of course it was my job as director to talk to Christopher Lee and to explain to him what I wanted. So I started to go into this long explanation about
the
what
AI
sort of
art segment, yeah.
sound he should make when he got stabbed.
I seem to recall that I did say to people,
Oh, the Henry Cavill
"Have you
segment.
any idea of what kind of noise happens when somebody's stabbed in the back? And I said, well, because I do.
Oh, yeah. You see, it's not,
I like that. It's because the breath's driven out of your body.
He proceeded to sort of talk about some very clandestine part of World War II.
He used to be in the British...
I fucking love him, man. So fucking funny, dude. That everyone would just let him do it. He's just like, yeah, okay. Will you ever have your stream in 1440p? No, that would require increasing the bit rate, which would cause issues for people with slower connections. Truly a lost treasure? Oh, he's not really lost. We all know who he is. We all love him. Ari G with the $10. Thank you very much for your consideration. Keep up the great work. We have to go back. Go on the God, the $5. Can you react to some actualize.org vids at some point in the future? I don't know what this is, and the link brings up a uBlock origin filter for badware risks. What is this? Actualize.org? I don't know what that is, I'm afraid, so I can't really say. Leafar, thank you for the $5. Yes, that's true. Bitches do like responsible dads. And you're not on fire with the $5. Don't conflate lost young men with social people with people who have actively chosen to hate. I do believe that, like, while it may be more common down the line, it is not that common for guys who get into the alt-right pipeline to, like, do so in a malicious fashion, right? Usually it starts with legitimate grievances that feel like they're being better answered by other people. I mean, down the line, eventually you might reach a point where they're just hateful for being hateful. But it's important to not treat everyone that way, because if you do, you kind of leave out the possibility of even positively affecting people's lives. Oh, I hope I get more sleep tonight, but I had to wake up early. And Woman Respecter, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Bees Churger Chimkin. I fully agree. All right, my lads. Wah! I love you all very much. You're beautiful people. I have no idea what this stream was. I didn't really come in with any strong plans, but for some reason, we just spent like 90% of it talking about dating. A quick reminder that while I may sound confident while I stream, in reality, I actually hate leaving my house. My advice is theoretical, but we have many positive testimonies from VGGers, both in chat and in YouTube. Sorry, not YouTube. YouTube comments and in email, who have said, you know, oh, well, this helped or that helped or whatever. What helps the most is believing in yourself.
Vosh is so out of touch, he thinks someone just being a normal human like Aiden Ross who doesn't care about nerdy politics is indicative of a mental disability. Rugby 61. Aiden Ross gives plenty of reason to believe that. He works hard to earn that impression. There's this loser streamer called Hasanabi playing Valorant. Oh, I would not subject you guys to that gameplay quality. Let's send you over to... I'll send you over to Ariana Jasmine. Because it's been a minute. Shh. Just grabbing the ad. What buttons do I have to hit again? Hi, Daddy Vouch. Oh, and happy almost New Year to you guys. For those of you who are on the East Coast, it's actually about to be New Year's Eve. I do intend to stream tomorrow. We'll have a good time. Wait, what button am I hitting? Fuck, dude, I'm so tired. Oh my god. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I think I found... Okay, there we go. There we go. Wait, that was unironically the wrong button. Holy shit. I'm actually falling apart right now. I'm so tired. Okay, good night.